What's up, guys?
On this week's show,
Resident Evil 2 rumors,
Magnum PI gets a remake,
and DJ Melly Mel versus Batman Begins.
plus
Dumb shit of the week.
All that and more on this episode
of One Giant Leap for Geeks.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for
Geeks. Welcome to another episode of OGLFG, where we talk about movies, video games, and all things in geek culture. I'm your host, Mike C. Squared, and with me is my co-host, DJ Melly Mel.
Hey.
I want to give a special thanks to our friends over at Studio. They are makers of high-quality designer headphones, and we will talk about them more later in the show. But first, the moment we have all been waiting for with bated breath. Actually, you're going to have to pause and wait for that one. We'll get to that in a little bit. But you may already know what I'm talking about. DJ Melly Mel will finally give us her magnum opus explanation of why the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy is shit. In so many words.
Maybe more.
Right. But first, I want to talk about something that me and DJ Melly Mel just found out about maybe within the last hour or something, but Roseanne was canceled.
Yeah, I liked Roseanne as a kid.
Sure.
It reminded me of my grandparents, even though I've brought the topic up and they swear up and down, no, it's not us at all. It's them to a T. Like, from the issues that they face to the way that their relationship is, it's 100%. That's my grandparents, and that reminds me of my childhood. So
sure,
I was excited for the reboot.
Like Midwest,
Sure,
like
your typical
family,
Midwest family.
Uh-huh.
Well, when the reboot come out, loved it even, I've often said that it just feels like they didn't even go anywhere.
Oh, sure.
20 years they've still been here. They picked it up right where they left off.
Oh, it was 20 years?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
90s, late 90s.
That makes sense. 2018, yeah. Jeez.
Yeah. Now they're canceling it.
Yeah. So if you aren't aware of the story, Roseanne made a controversial tweet, to say the least. Okay, so I'll give you guys the lead-in to how this started. So I had been told by a friend that the Roseanne TV show was canceled because of something she said that was racist on Twitter. And I was like, oh shit, what did she say? Like, what happened?
Right.
So DJ Melly Mel, when I told her about it, she went and she looked it up. And she apparently they were just kind of paraphrasing or quoting part of the tweet, but didn't actually say what the whole tweet was. It was just something about
they go in to say what the bulk of it was.
Okay. It was, what's the woman's name who she was talking about?
She was talking about,
I know she was a
former Obama White House aide Valerie Jarrett.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know she was an aide to President Obama. And I think it quoted something in effect of she called her a ape or a monkey or something, right?
Yeah. In the beginning of the article, it talks about, now this is from CBS News, so we know it's pretty legit. It talks about how she had called her an ape, and the people that are at ABC, which everybody knows is owned by Disney, they said that there was only one thing to do here, and it was absolutely the right thing.
Yeah. I think it was Bob Iger retweeted that. Yeah, who was the CEO of Disney. And, yeah, and the mouse. I want that bitch off my network now.
That was a pretty good Mickey Mouse.
Thank you.
We found your impression.
There we go. I can do that one at least.
Yeah.
The high-pitched squeal shit is my wheelhouse, apparently.
Apparently, Jarrett is black. I'm not a very political kind of person. Don't know who this person is, but
sure.
That tidbit of information was, gives context to her tweet, which
so
there is no context for.
The tweet in question is because I had said, well, especially with this heightened, everybody's ready to just jump at each other's throats political climate that we're in, I thought, well, let's find the tweet itself, because, hey, who knows? Maybe they took something she said out of context. There could have been maybe the tail end of the tweet, and it could have been all innocuous up until that point, and then maybe she just said something that people took the wrong way. So I was like, hey, you never know. I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. Then DJ Melly Mel reads the tweet, which says...
Bar's tweet said, Muslim Brotherhood and Planet of the Apes had a baby equals VJ, in reference of Jarrett.
Damn! I was like, I even made the joke that I wanted to record myself reacting to that the first time I heard it, because my mouth probably hit the floor, because I thought surely she couldn't have said nothing that bad. These people are overreacting. Mm-hmm. It can't be that serious. No, that bitch took the gloves off for that shit. I was like, wow, I can't believe she said some shit like that. Like, that is probably the most blatantly racist thing a celebrity has said in a long time.
Well, since the Hulk Hogan scandal.
Yeah. What? No, probably the Mel Gibson shit.
Yeah.
When he was talking about he hoped his wife get raped by a pack of niggers and shit. Like, that was, that's why. Anyway, yeah, like, so obviously the show was canceled. After that shit. You can't really backpedal that one.
Bar tried to clean it up, and she pushed back against the criticisms. She admitted that it was a joke, in quotes.
In poor taste.
It was in very bad taste, also in quotes. And she said she was very sorry and that she was going to be leaving Twitter.
Yeah, and I made the joke. I was like, nah, bitch, you have been evicted from Twitter. I was like, you can't pull that I quit. No, that you're fired. No, you can't fire me because I quit bullshit. It's like, no, bitch, you are fired. Like, your show is gone. They are deleting your Twitter account as we speak. Mm-hmm. They are scrubbing the internet of your existence right now.
She further went on to say, I apologize to Valerie Jarrett and all Americans. I'm truly sorry for making a bad joke about her politics and her looks. I should have known better. Forgive me. My joke was in bad taste. But the apology was not enough for ABC.
Well, nah.
They chopped the head off of that. They said, nope, your show has not been...
They said, hell no. Like, the fact that they even took the chance on her to bring that show back, knowing, just how she has been over the years, and just kind of, Roseanne's been, like, toxic for a while. Mm-hmm. Between her and Rosie O'Donnell, them bitches is just toxic at this point. So, a lot of places have kind of, like, stayed hands off with them. But I think this was Disney's way of trying to reincorporate that forgotten part of America, that Midwestern,
sure, we don't get a lot of credit out here.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, we need to appeal to that demographic again, because and to be all honestly, this is welcome to political talk. Mm-hmm. This is
not for long. Melly Mel is shutting that shit down.
Right, but just it. A lot of these people are why we have President Trump today. Mm-hmm. Is because a lot of these people felt like the country has left them behind. Like the talking points, the coal mines. We're gonna bring those back, and this, that, and the other, and the manufacturing jobs. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, but if you believe that shit for a second, you're fucking stupid. Like, they're not going to bring that shit back. No one is going to reinvest in these places. Like, I am from Flint, Michigan. Flint, Michigan is a failed city because everything was put into the GM basket. And when the shops pulled out, they had nothing to fall back on. Absolutely nothing. And the city has never recovered from it since.
No.
These mining towns and all that shit, once that shit pulled out, they have not recovered, and they will never recover again, because the entire economy was built off of one business.
Yep.
So it's like, the future's here, guys. Like, we're moving forward. We're getting away from fossil fuels and all that kind of shit. Like, these things, they're not a viable, way to live anymore. So if you're waiting around for that to come back, you will always be waiting for that. Mm-hmm. And it's sad, but it's true. It's like, it sucks. But I personally do not have the answers for what's best for the country. But I do feel like anyone who is running the country should be a realist and a futurist. I want someone in there who can look at the situation for what it is and not what they want it to be or what it used to be and what it is, and say, okay, this is where we stand now. What do we need to do to be functional in the future? Like, I need somebody who's thinking 10, 20, 30 years down the road, because all this right now, today bullshit won't matter next week, let alone next year. So it's like we need to be thinking forward, and no one seems to be doing that. We keep wanting to regress back to the way things used to be, and it's like...
Or we pay attention to something that has no bearing...
Yeah, exactly.
...on the everyday citizen.
Mm-hmm. Distractions. Anyway, politics talk's over, guys. But anyway, we wanted to just throw that in there.
Barr had rebuffed earlier accusations of racism by insisting that Islam is not a race, but her evidential admission that the joke was about Jared's looks seemed to kind of confirm that the ape comment was directed towards...
Oh yeah, for
appearance.
Sure. I mean, she can try to brush away the Islam shit all she wants to, but it's like you said, you called a black woman in America in 2018 an ape. Bitch, you knew what the fuck you was saying. Like, there was no, oh, well, you know, I didn't mean it that way. Like, nah, motherfucker. Because
you meant it that way.
This is, okay, as a black person, all of my white friends and white listeners, I'm going to help you guys out. As a black person, think of it this way. You as a white person, if you would not say something, you should proofread everything before you say it that regards race when it comes to black people. If you would not say that to a black person's face or a room full of black people, you probably shouldn't be saying it at all.
Well,
because
same
if you think
any...
that, yeah, for any race, yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be black people, but if you would not say that directly to them or in a room full of these people, it's probably not okay to say it at all. Because just because you're behind your keyboard, you know, or you're on Twitter, you know, it's going to get to these other people.
That's the thing. We're all hiding behind our keyboards.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And so we're the biggest dog out there because we're big, we're buffed up, we got lots of opinions. And most of the people that make comments like this don't think about it firsthand.
Oh, no.
They just, boom, react and go.
Yeah, that, and they have built an echo chamber around themselves of people with other like-minded ideas and shit. So they talk this bullshit back and forth to each other, and they just get, you know, confirmation bias. You know, they're like, yeah, you are right. Yeah, fuck these fucking black folks and all this kind of shit. They're a bunch of monkeys and shit. So it's like, but then when they get out of that echo chamber and it bleeds out into the real world and everybody attacks them, they're like, what? I didn't do what? It was just a joke. And it's like, no, motherfucker. Like, you knew that shit was wrong. So that's why I'm like, yeah, your litmus test is if you wouldn't say that around a bunch of other people of a different ethnicity, you probably shouldn't be saying it if they're not around. Because it's probably offensive either way.
Do the right thing even when no one is looking.
There you go. But anyway, we've given enough time to Miss Barr, but still. We wanted to talk about that because I was shocked at that shit. I was like, holy shit. She did not just say that shit. So I am sorry for giving Roseanne the benefit of the doubt. I will not do that again. I've made that mistake once. Excuse me. But anyway. So, I was never a fan of this show. I did not really watch it all that much growing up, but the theme song to it is probably one of the dopest theme songs to any show that has ever been televised. And I will give you a second to guess what it may be. Just think about not a cartoon show, something in like the what would you say, like 80s?
Yes, 80s.
Yeah, show from the 80s. Theme song, best ever. No, fuck no. Definitely not Hawaii Five-O. But damn close. It's Magnum PI is back, bitches. You've been missing that Tom Selleck mustache. It was like, oh, Henry Cavill's mustache, you know, gave you memories of the good glory days of the Tom Selleck turd Ferguson.
You know, this comes with good timing because I just just made Tom Selleck references in Magnum PI last night.
Oh, that's funny.
I was at work, and this is before I even knew about the reboot.
Mm-hmm.
I made Magnum PI references while I was at work. That is hilarious.
That is
perfect
awesome.
timing. All right.
But yeah, no, it is coming back to CBS. They are bringing back Magnum PI, and it is starring Jay Hernandez of Suicide Squad fame. Now, he's been in a bunch of other movies as well, but that's probably what he's most well known for, which at the same time is funny because he's unrecognizable in the movie. Jay Hernandez plays El Diablo in Suicide Squad, the fire guy, who I guess he dies at the end, doesn't he? Fighting the witch chick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he dies at the end. Anyway, we'll never see a Suicide Squad 2, so it don't matter.
We might.
Shots fired.
We might.
But yeah, so he is going to be the star of the show. He is our new Magnum PI.
I'm gonna miss the mustache, though.
Yeah, I don't think he'd look right with a Terry Ferguson.
No, he would not rock the mustache the same.
No,
as...
but hey, anybody out there who's good with Photoshop and listening, please, can you Photoshop Tom Selleck's mustache onto Jay Hernandez's face? Go ahead and shoot that tweet at Giant Leap, the number 4 Geeks. Please and thank you, guys.
You're gonna Photoshop Magnum PI's mustache onto Magnum PI. Mind blown.
Oh my god. But yeah, so it's starring Jay Hernandez as Thomas Magnum, Perdita Weeks as Juliet Higgins, who, yes, Higgins in this version of the show, instead of being an old middle-aged white guy, now it's a British woman. I think Higgins was British in the first one, in the original show too. He was just an old white dude, but now it's a young white British woman. So there you go. And we got Zachary Knighton as Rick Wright, and Stephen Hill as TC Calvin. And if you don't know who TC is the pilot of the show. That's literally all the function he had in the show, is he was the pilot. But it looks like they're trying to give it the Hawaii Five-0 treatment, where it's like, hey, we update this, make it flashy, actiony, cool, and sexy.
Brought to you by the producer of the Fast and the Furious.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you said that. Is it the original Fast and Furious movies, or just... Is it Vin Diesel? What is that? Vin Diesel presents Magnum PI.
When it flashed on the trailer, I didn't see if it said Fast and the Furious or the Fast and the Furious. So
yeah, from everyone's favorite Fast and Furious, Tokyo Drift.
Well, I mean, the guy from Tokyo Drift is in there.
Yeah.
Han, he's in there. So that's exciting.
Yeah. Honestly, though, to be fair, it looks kind of like overly progressive and kind of unnecessary, to be honest.
I agree,
because it was like, okay, if we're gonna make this show and make it palatable to people nowadays, we can't just have a bunch of white folks. So it's like, all right, we got to throw a bunch of like people of color in there.
We gotta have a black guy. We gotta have a
Hispanic guy. Which kudos to CBS that they went and was like, you know what, we're gonna make Magnum PI a Hispanic man. Like, probably like one of the most hated demographics right now for some people, at least in the country. So it was like, yeah, like I was like, you know what, CBS, I will give you points for that. It was ballsy to do that. But then when I saw the Higgins thing of being a woman and then TC is a black guy, I was like, okay, now you guys are just doing this just to like make it seem. But at the same time, it takes place in Hawaii. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, if you watch the Hawaii Five-0 show, the only white people in that show are the two main characters. There ain't that many white people in Hawaii. It's like a bunch of natives and like Asian, descent people and stuff like that. It's like, so back when they was making these shows and they had all these white folks, it was like, man, y'all had to fly these white people in to film this shit, because I'm like, there is not that many white people in Hawaii.
You're just going to use a beach and call it Hawaii.
Pretty much, yeah. You're in like Montana or some bullshit. And it's like, yeah, it's Hawaii. Like, motherfucker, I can see your breath. It's cold as hell out there. Don't give me that bullshit. But DJ Melly Mel is making a crazy ass face right now, and I'm not sure why. She's always looking at something over there, and I'm always like confused about what's happening. Are you gonna share?
No. Yes, I guess my notebook erased. Damn it.
Oh, good job.
It'll be all right.
So, did we lose all the show notes?
Nope.
Okay.
It's just gonna be weird.
Okay.
I'll just have to fix it.
Okay. All right. Be ready for technical difficulties, folks.
No technical difficulties. I got this. I'm good at thinking on the fly here.
But at the same time, even though I feel this show is really kind of unnecessary, no one was sitting around like, they really need to bring Magnum PI back.
No, but they've been doing it. They started it with Hawaii Five-0. And then they recently done it with MacGyver. They have the Lethal Weapon series, which is based off the movies.
Yeah.
And they've had, they just keep rebooting. They had the A-Team and everything. I guess they're stuck on a chunk of time.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, these were good then. Let's make them modern now and call it good.
I'm still waiting for the Never Back Down, the series, to... like, when are we getting that? I guess that's too recent. We got to wait till, like, the 2020s till we get the Never Back Down, the series. The Netflix original. Never Back Down, the series.
Oh, my God.
Save the Last Dance, the series.
They have that.
There was a show?
Yeah.
Are you fucking serious? I was making a joke.
No, they have a Save the Last Dance.
Okay.
And I believe it is a series.
Never mind. God. Ugh. Ugh. Anywho, yeah. So, even though it felt kind of unnecessary, like DJ Melly Mel said, they've been doing this with shows for a while now, so this is nothing new. Shows like Hawaii Five-0 have done well. The Lethal Weapon series has done well. Hell, they fired the guy who played Mel Gibson's character, and now they're swapping him out with
Sean
fucking
William
Stifler from the goddamn American Pie movies.
Stifler and Damon Wayans.
Yep, there you go.
I like it.
I mean, I don't know, like it was weird though, because when I was trying to research it, the trailer presents it as if it's a show, but on IMDb it says that it's a TV movie. So I was like, so is it a show or is it a TV movie?
It's probably one of those mini-series things.
Oh, I think so, yeah. See how people react to it. And it's like, hey, if it does well, we'll make a whole... Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, probably.
Because, they do that quite a bit. They'll give you, 6 to 8 episodes.
Sure, yeah.
And they make them an hour and a half each.
Mm-hmm.
Or an hour each.
Sure.
And they're like, yeah, we're testing the waters. And then they come out and bam, it's a show.
That's fair. Yeah, they said, El Diablo wasn't cheap to get to do this, so we got to test run this shit before we invest a bunch of money into it.
We got to see how well this man's going to provide for us, because we can't use El Diablo as a reference point, because it's a Warner Brothers movie.
True. But... I want to say that I'll check it out, but I don't watch regular TV all that much, and plus it's on CBS, and I don't watch any fucking thing on CBS, so I'll probably never see this shit.
I'll probably watch it because I watch everything on CBS.
Okay, we'll see. We'll have a new segment.
CBS is like my channel that...
Okay.
We have several shows throughout the week.
So we'll have a new weekly segment along with Dumb Shit of the Week. We'll have Magnum PI update, weekly update.
I ain't going all that far.
Wait, I thought you loved your CBS shows. What happened?
Do, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm gonna... Now, I might watch it and be like, no, I'm good, thanks. That's how I felt with the MacGyver. I was all pumped for MacGyver, and then I got into it, and I'm like, I can't get into this.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot about that one, the MacGyver. Yeah,
that's anything like the original.
Real quick sidebar. Have you ever seen The Guyver?
The Guyver?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, it's fucking cool. It's based off, I want to say it's based off this manga or anime, but it's a sci-fi movie from like the late 80s, early 90s. Mark Hamill is in the first movie.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not a main character. He's like a side character. And I think he dies in it too or whatever. But anyway, basically...
It's still Mark Hamill.
Yeah, true. It's the Guyver is this alien, almost like a symbiote, pretty much, and it goes over you and you transform into the Guyver, and it does sweet ass karate, and he has fucking... Okay, you remember in X-Men Origins Wolverine when Deadpool has the swords that come out his forearms and shit? It's like that, except it comes out his elbows.
Okay.
And I was like, it was fucking sweet because he'd like elbow hit you and cut your fucking head off. Like, the movies were cheesy and dumb as shit, but they're fucking awesome. The animes are really fucking cool. But kids, on your watch list, you can add this to it if you have not seen the Guyver, not MacGyver, the Guyver. Check it out. The Guyver's really cool. Because every time I hear MacGyver, it makes me think the Guyver. And I'm like, oh, I love the Guyver. Not enough people will probably understand this reference, but the ones who do, you, sir, get a cool point. Or ma'am. Or whatever in between. You get a cool point today.
Yes.
But, yeah, so somebody will be happy when Magnum PI comes out. DJ Melly Mel will be excited. So, there you go. Hey, you can just at least tell me if it's good or not.
I'll at least go that far.
All right.
I gotta at least watch the pilot and
there you
be
go.
like, hey, this is worth it. Or, you know.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
It's not Tom Selleck. We'll see.
That's what they should have did. His car should have just been Tom Selleck's mustache on wheels. With the fucking driver's seat and the steering wheel. Anyway, moving on. So, this story, I am the most excited about anything that we are going to talk about today or probably any day. Resident Evil 2, the game, is possibly being remade. Now, I want to stress what I'm about to say with the highest amount of I don't know what you want to use. Take this with the highest amount of salt humanly possible, grain of salt, because I don't know if this is true. These are rumors. You're gonna need an
entire can of salt.
Yes, because these are rumors. So at no point do I want anybody to like, oh yeah, they're totally making such and such. Yeah, no, confirmed. Mike C Squared of One Giant Leap for Geeks confirmed they are making a Resident Evil 2. Anyway, I'm getting this from the GameFragger.com. It says the Resident Evil 2 remake is also rumored to run on the RE engine, albeit with optimized and upgraded tech to improve on lighting and shadows. The source also mentions that the game is aiming to lock the game at 30 frames per second in 1080p and 60 frames per second at native 4K on the PS4 Pro. Now, supposedly, there is going to be an announcement of the game on this year's E3, or at this year's E3. It's only about a month away, but this is purely on speculation, and nothing is confirmed at this point. But from the source, they say that apparently the game will be using the over-the-shoulder perspective, which is likely to disappoint some fans that wanted the classic fixed camera style to return, which I am a purist when it comes to Resident Evil 2. I want my camera angles in the top corner of the room. You can see me coming through a door down the hallway, and then I just have to guess if there's a fucking demon on the other side of the corner that's going to kill me, because that is what a lot of the fear and suspense of that game came from, is that you didn't know what was around the corner because you couldn't control the camera, so you could never look any kind of way. Okay. It was just the camera was in one spot. In each room you went into, there was already a designated spot for where the camera would be, and your character would move through the space, but you could never change your perspective. So you may walk into a room, and there's blood all over the floor, and you can hear something eating something in the corner, but you can't see it because they've purposely set the camera up to where you can't see what's in that corner until you get closer to it, and it changes angles. So I'm not a fan of the over-the-shoulder camera angle. I don't like the fact that I can turn it and it follows my character, like most first-person shooters do. Like, it's right with you, as you're walking around. I don't like that for the Resident Evil games. I've honestly never liked that for them. But anyway, it goes on to say, which is likely to disappoint some fans that wanted the classic fixed camera style to return. On the other hand, Resident Evil 4, considered the best game in the franchise, also used the over-the-shoulder perspective. The problem here is that it was designed that way, and Resident Evil 2 relies 100% on fixed camera angles, since much of the game's atmosphere, as well as the suspense, came from not knowing what was right around the corner. I don't even know what to say. I love the Resident Evil franchise. Okay, I love the first like 3 games, Resident Evil franchise.
How many games do they have?
Oh god, there's probably like, if you count like the little sub games, like the little spin-off games, there's probably about 10 Resident Evil games.
Okay.
Yeah, over the years, because I think the first one came out in like 95 or something like that.
Oh, I bet you them graphics were popping.
Oh yeah, no, trust me, it is not a good revisit. Like the games look horrible, but they still play well and they still are fun and scary to a degree. That was one of like the first games I ever played to the end, like that where I beat it the whole way through. Like I was not much of a video game completionist when I was a kid because my attention span wasn't long enough to complete a game. Usually, it's like, hey, if I couldn't beat this shit in like a couple days, then fuck it. But
wow, damn, you gave your games days.
Yeah, well, I mean, I am used to the time where you couldn't save games and shit. I remember times where I had to leave a game on all night till the next day to play it again because I didn't want to lose the spot that I was at.
On that shit,
yeah, so don't overheat and shit and catch a goddamn house on fire. But yeah,
then your mom was like, "Did you turn that game off?" Yep, sure did.
Yep,
TV's completely
TV's off. Yeah, shit. But that game's still hot to the bitch on that floor. But
put some shit in front of it so that she can't see the little lights on.
Oh, my grandma didn't care that much. As long as the TV was off, she didn't give a fuck. Shit, I'd be like, yo, it's on standby. It's all the lights always on. Yeah. Well, we didn't have shit. Standby wasn't a thing back then. But whatever.
It turns green when it's on.
Right. Totally. When it's plugged in, it's always red. But I mean, that was one of the first games I ever played to completion. And what was cool about that game is that you played it as there was 2 different discs to the game. And one disc you played as the male character who was, I think Leon was his name. And then the other disc you played as the female character, which was Claire. And what was so cool about it was each player's perspective was different. So in the beginning of the game, you guys meet each other in the city or in the town, and you see that it's being overrun by zombies. And then you get split up right at the beginning. And then from there, you go off and you do your half of the missions, and then they're off doing something else. And you periodically will, reconvene at different points in the story. So if you wanted to be a completionist and play both discs, you got to see what the female character was doing while you were off playing as the guy, and vice versa. And then once you beat their half of the game and you'd go to play the other person's half, they would pick up and do things that happened for you in the game, but you didn't know how it happened. So say you got to a point where there was something trying to kill you and you needed to get on this elevator, and the elevator comes down for you, but the button was broke on your side, so you couldn't push it. You find out later, like, oh, that was this character that let the elevator down to help you, but you're never actually interacting with each other. But you get to it's kind of like those choose your own adventure books.
Okay.
Where it's like, oh, if you want this to happen, read this page, and you can kind of go and see how these things intertwine.
I thought that I would love those kind of books. Little sidebar here.
Sure.
I thought I'd love those books, and I started with Goosebumps books like that. Mm-hmm. I read one, and I was so annoyed because I had to keep flipping back and forth. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Just give me the damn story. Like I don't know how to describe it. Like my attention wasn't, when you read a book all the way through, you're like suspenseful and you're ready, and you can anticipate the next thing, and it either is going to follow your anticipation or it's going to be completely off.
Right. With
those make your own, I always pick the same kind of ending or same kind of option.
Right.
I picked
even though you had all these options, you would probably still stay the course of what it started you on.
I still kind of picked the same ones. So they were never very fun for me.
Yeah, and I mean, and I guess for an example, Choose Your Own Adventure might not have been the greatest because there's only so many options for what you could have did in the game, but still.
Well, I mean, there were so many options
in the books as well. Yeah,
especially some of the smaller books.
Sure, yeah.
But anyway, I've never played the Resident Evil games.
Sure.
So I mean, that's kind of a cool thing where it's not just okay, we're gonna play through 68 levels of Mario and they're all gonna be exactly the same. You can predict where the fish is gonna be and how you gotta jump here, there, as opposed to one that more or less depends on a different perspective. So that's kind of a neat thing.
Oh yeah, no, I highly recommend, if you've never played Resident Evil, if you've never played any survival, okay, if you like survival horror games and you've not played Resident Evil 2 and Silent Hill 2, Silent Hill 1, maybe Silent Hill 2 for sure. Those two games are like the go-to horror games. Like, you have to play Resident Evil 2 and Silent Hill 2. Those games are great. But I've loved horror games since I was a kid anyway, so even I can remember the first horror game I ever played was Friday the 13th, the game for the Nintendo. And that game, the graphics are terrible and it's stupid, but that game scared the fucking shit out of me. I remember when I was a kid and when we got it at the video game store in the mall, the lady behind the counter was like, "Are you sure you want this game? It's scary. It's a scary game. It's not for kids." And, my grandma was like, "Are you sure you want to get this?" And I'm like, yes, no, I want it so bad. Because I had watched the Friday the 13th movies. I knew who Jason was and all that kind of stuff. I liked horror movies when I was a kid. But I'm like 8, 9 years old. I'm really young.
What system was this on?
Nintendo. The original Nintendo.
Nice.
Yeah, Friday the 13th, the game. And at the beginning, it was one of the few games that were out at that time that had an opening cutscene at the beginning.
Okay.
And basically, it was just like flashes of like the park and like people dying. And then they like show Jason's mask on the ground. And then a knife goes through it, like the eye, and then blood starts coming down the screen. And that shit scared the shit out of me. I was so scared. I'm not even making this up. When the game was starting and it was playing that little cutscene, I was standing in the hallway outside of my own bedroom, peeking into the door, watching it play because I was so scared. I didn't even want to be holding the controller while it was happening. I think I played that game maybe 4 times and never touched it again. And my grandma was like, "Why did you play in that game? I got you. You did it." That game scared the shit out of me, but I was hooked after that. And I just loved horror games ever since. Honestly, I think that's where my love of gaming came from in the beginning, was playing horror games. Yeah, Friday the 13th, the game. Yep, for a Nintendo. Oh, shout out to At the Cabinet, or the Cabinet Cast. I wonder if he's played the Friday the 13th, the game. I don't know, man. If you hear this, let me know if you have played that game, because I think if you haven't, you would enjoy that. Anyway, just in general, I would think that what they're doing with this would be similar to what they did with the Resident Evil, the original remake, when they came out with it for the GameCube, I think. And they pretty much revamped the whole thing. Like, the setting was the same, the characters, the story for the most part was the same, but the way the game played and the graphics and all that were really updated. And it was a lot better for it. I think they took what made that game fun and then they just expanded upon that and really fleshed it out and made it fun. Like, I'm hoping that it can retain the suspense of the original, since it won't have the fixed cameras, but then still have modern gameplay elements that will, appeal to people who game now and not just my generation, like 30-somethings who are like, "Oh, I love PlayStation." It's like, they can't cater to us. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying, just in general, our generation. Yeah, it's like they can't cater everything to us. They should, but it wouldn't be fair to other people.
They say we're the best.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I think Captain America's generation is the greatest generation, supposedly.
I didn't say greatest. I said we're the best.
Best, greatest.
There's
whatever.
Difference.
Semantics.
No, because Cap's generation, he was very, I'm going to save the day. We're going to be good people. And
sure.
Our generation, we just have really cool nostalgia.
That's true.
Good stories to tell our kids.
It's like, hey, remember when your dad was afraid of the Nintendo game Friday the 13th?
That's so something I would say.
Oh, I can't wait to tell my son that story. He's like, "You were a fucking bitch." You listen to podcasts. You're listening to this podcast right now. So you probably want to have the best listening experience possible. Well, let me take a moment to tell you about a company that produces high-quality headphones, Sudio. Sudio is a Swedish lifestyle and earphone specialist. The company, founded in 2012, was named after the Phil Collins song Sudio, after one of the founders bumped into the singer while he was trying to untangle his headphones. Now, I've had some hands-on time with one of their headphones, the Regent. These are state-of-the-art wireless headphones with a very modern look, and it can be personalized with custom-designed interchangeable caps. The Regent gives out fantastic sound quality and clear definition. It uses Bluetooth 4.1 technology and has a 24-plus hours of battery life. The padded headband is gold-plated and can be adjusted for comfort, and the collapsible design makes them easy to take with you really anywhere. Everything, and I mean everything, from Studio comes with a quality assurance card, which has a unique serial number, providing a 1-year warranty, giving you the confidence of knowing you have a superior product that is backed by Studio to guarantee your satisfaction. Now, do yourself a favor and head over to Studio.com, that's SUDIO.com, and check out the region for yourself. Plus, there's also a great variety of other wireless headphones and speakers that you can choose from. And if you tell them we sent you, you'll get 15% off your purchase. Just use the code LEAP4GEEKS at checkout. That code again is LEAP4GEEKS, all one word, not only to get 15% off your order, but they'll know that we sent you. Okay, so the ever-going Batfleck saga continues.
I like that, Batfleck.
Oh, yeah, no, and I didn't coin that term. I can't, no copyright for One Giant Leap for Geeks for that one, guys. Sorry.
No, but I still like it.
Yeah, no. It works. So the Batfleck saga continues. Mr. Affleck has flip-flopped yet again. And apparently, come to find out, he still wants to be Batman, I guess. Hooray.
Oh my god, I'm going to get him a two-faced coin and put a bat symbol on one side and a bat symbol on the other side and draw a line through one of them and be like, flip the goddamn coin.
Right, come on, Two-Face. Tell us what you're doing. So I'm getting this from ScreenRant.com. It says, Ben Affleck reportedly wants to continue playing the DCEU's Batman. One of the plaguing mysteries of the Warner Brothers franchise is Affleck's commitment to his superhero gig. Soon after Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice hit theaters and was met with divisive response, rumors started swirling that the actor may already be looking for a way out of the role, coupled with his confusing remarks that prompted the fandom to be concerned. And it goes on to say that in the bigger DCEU picture, it's curious if Affleck's rumored decision has anything to do with the Flash's upcoming standalone film, reportedly not longer being titled Flashpoint. Because remember, a few weeks back when we talked about the Flash movie being called Flashpoint and how the theory was that this would be how Ben Affleck would get out of being Batman.
Right.
They'd
They
kill
were
him off.
Put in somebody older.
Right, or a different Batman. Like, oh, you're from the alternate timeline and our Batman's dead, so your time don't exist no more, but you can come be with us. So I had a feeling that they were going to pull some shit like that. But since they changed the name, people are starting to theorize, okay, well, maybe they're not going to do that. But it goes on to say, for quite some time, many people viewed the movie as the possible exit route for the actor without disrupting the whole established canon. At this point, fans have already managed their expectations however this pans out. There has been a slew of other actors who have openly expressed their eagerness to play Batman on the big screen, so recasting won't be that difficult. And quick sidebar, apparently, for a while they were saying that Jake Gyllenhaal was in talks to play Batman.
Yeah, I heard
to replace him. But apparently...
Oh, I didn't know he was going to be Batman. I thought he was going to be the Joker.
Nope, he was going to be Batman. He was going to replace Ben Affleck. He was going to be new Batman. But I don't think that ever panned out, so that's not going to happen. But apparently, he is going to be playing Mysterio in Spider-Man Homecoming 2.
Yes, I saw that.
And I was like, holy shit. But then at the same time, I'm like, sidebar within a sidebar. How are we marketing the Marvel movies until Infinity War 2 comes out? I don't see, because... Infinity War 2 and Spider-Man Homecoming 2, or whatever they're going to call it, come out in the same year.
I think they are calling it Spider-Man Homecoming 2.
Okay. So they're coming out within the same year, or in 2019. How are you going to...
Captain Marvel's coming out, too.
Yeah, I know.
Or Miss Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
Marvel, yeah.
But how do you market Spider-Man Homecoming 2 when he's dead? We know he's dead from Infinity War. Now, obviously, Spider-Man's not dead. They're going to find a way to bring him back. They're going to bring all these people back. We already know that. Regardless, putting that aside, how do you advertise a movie that's coming out a few months after Infinity War 2 when, until people see Infinity War 2, we don't know that Spider-Man's going to come back from that? So it's like, well, how do you make a movie, unless it's going to be a prequel, unless Spider-Man Homecoming 2 takes place in between Homecoming and Infinity War?
I kind of think that's what's going on.
Then they can do that and everything will be cool.
What's going on with all of the sequels
you
that
think,
we're going to get.
You know what? That would make sense.
Because we're getting the Black Panther 2.
Okay.
We're getting Spider-Man Homecoming 2.
Okay.
Ant-Man and the Wasp comes out very quickly.
Yep. Yeah,
Next
but we
couple months.
know from the get-go
Right,
that
right.
that's not going to
Those
be.
are all kind of... Ant-Man and the Wasp is before.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Black Panther 2 is going to be before.
Okay. Now, is that coming out before Infinity War 2? I didn't know that they had a date set for that yet.
End of 19, I think I read somewhere.
Okay.
Possibly beginning of 20.
Okay. Well, that'll be fine, though, because if it comes out at the end of 2019 or 2020, Infinity War comes out like May of 2019,
Yep.
so that'll be okay.
We have Captain Marvel in March.
Yep. And we know that that's set in the 90s.
That's a set in the 90s, so that won't be an issue.
Yeah.
Then we have Infinity in May, or Infinity 2.
Yeah, whatever they're calling it, yeah.
Avengers 4.
Yeah.
As it's known around the internet. Avengers 4 will be in May, and then I want to say that Homecoming 2 is in July.
Yeah, and that's what I'm worried about. It's like, okay, so you got 2 months between Infinity War and Homecoming 2. How do you... What is the... Who's going to be in the trailer? Again, so like I said, unless this movie takes place before Infinity War, it's just going to be Aunt May crying in the trailer, just like...
My poor Peter.
Or... Okay, never mind. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole because we're supposed to be talking about Batman and Ben Affleck, and we've completely gone down.
We might have to push that back.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Anyway,
right.
So Mr. Affleck, okay. So what's funny about this whole thing is the very first, or technically episode 0 of our podcast, before I had any equipment, I didn't have a co-host, I didn't even know what the show would even be about. All I knew is that I wanted to bitch about Batman. And that's literally what... So, guys, if you want to go back in our catalog library, go all the way back to episode 0. Which is the test/bitching with Batman. Bitching about Batman episode. So, yeah, the whole thing, I think, is about like half an hour long. It's just me with my phone pacing in my basement bitching about Batman. It was a test to see if I could record this stuff and how I would sound, which is nasally and annoying.
You have come since then.
Oh yeah, leaps and bounds.
I like that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good job.
But anyway, so our episode 0 is just about Ben Affleck and Batman and the issues with him and everything else. So it's ironic that, episode 21, it's coming back full circle. But
it always does. That's
yeah.
why I love the comic universe.
Yeah.
I love the geeky culture. It all comes back.
It's cyclical. It's all a big circle. Yeah, there you go. You can write that one down too.
New word of the day.
But honestly, I'm over Ben Affleck. I'm not gonna lie. Fuck him. Fuck him. At this point, I could care less. He can go. I don't care if it's a rumor, if he want to stay or not. I don't want you to be Batman no more because you don't want to be Batman no more. It's like that thing. Okay. Now, if you've ever been in a relationship of any kind, it don't necessarily have to be boyfriend, girlfriend, relationship with your parents, whatever. When you want something from them and they don't want to give it to you, you don't want it once they finally bend to it. Like, say, you want a toy. No, that's not a bad example because kids don't give a fuck. They don't have shame or pride or anything. They'll take whatever. Okay, let's just say you're in a relationship and you're talking to your girlfriend. And you go, hey, we should go out to dinner tonight. Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, I don't really want to. And you're asking and you're kind of going back and forth. And you finally wear them down, or they feel guilty, and they're like, "Fine, we can go out to dinner."
I don't want to go.
Yeah, and it's like, "No, fuck you! Like, I don't want to go.
I want you to go. I don't want you to go because I want you to.
I don't want your pity food. Yes, so I don't want your pity date. Yeah, mm-hmm. So that's what this is. I don't want pity Batman. Fuck that shit. If you don't want to be Batman, bitch, don't be Batman no more. Be gone. There are thousands of people who would kill to play Batman. So, actors who are in Hollywood today, right now, who is like, please cast me as Batman. I'm hitting the weights tonight. Right. They in there, swear to me. Like, they ready. Which we're going to get there. We're going to get there. But, but this motherfucker, if he don't want to be Batman no more, no one's twisting his arm to do it. Like, I thought he was okay in BVS. I did not like him in Justice League as Batman at all because I don't know who he was in that movie because in BVS, they make him as this like almost tortured soul who's like on the brink of just losing his fucking shit like at any minute. And then in Justice League, he's more human, which that's the way he should have been the whole time.
Sure.
But I don't know, because in the Batman the Animated Series, I think they, of all the iterations of Batman, have gotten him the most right, was his show from the 90s.
Yeah.
Because he could be dark and scary, but then he could be smooth and suave and funny and shit at the same time. Like when he was Bruce, he just had bitches on his arms all the time. He's like smoozing it up at parties and shit, cracking jokes. Like he was suave. And then he'd be in the Batman suit and it was like terrifying. So it was like they found a way to work both angles, but they never made Bruce seem like he was just fucking crazy and shit. You know, he had issues, and they make it a point to show he has still not gotten over the death of his parents, and that's what drives him to do what he does, and that's that and the other. But he was still a human being, and he was a person. He wasn't just this brooding, like, I'm on the edge of killing myself.
Like he had a switch. He could flip it on and off.
Yeah, exactly. You know, he had levels to him, as opposed to I'm always mad. Like in BVS, like Ben Affleck's version was like the Hulk. He's like, I'm always angry, like always. And I'm like, you can't be like that. It's like, so what, you angry in the morning when you wake up? Like, what, you angry at breakfast? Sorry, I stole that joke from Cat Williams, but it's still funny. But I mean, I don't know who I would like to replace him, but I feel at this point like everyone in the DCEU, of everyone that's in these movies, he carries the most baggage because you can tell he doesn't want to do this. He's made statements about not wanting to do it and finding a way to gracefully leave the role. And he's been doing this for like the last 2 years now. So it's like, you know, you can't keep crying wolf and then suddenly be like, no, I'm serious this time. I want to do it. Like, no, you don't want to. We don't want you to do it no more. Just
flip your coin and be done with it. Either you are Batman or you're not Batman.
Yeah. And even if he does want to stay on, I'm pretty sure Matt Reeves doesn't want him to be Batman. Like the guy who's directing the Batman movie, and I think that's what they're calling it, the Batman. Yeah.
Yep.
He wants to go with like a younger Batman. So that's why the whole Jake Gyllenhaal thing came into, you know, the equation in the first place, because they're trying to find a new Batman to cast for this.
You know, it kind of reminds me of the Spider-Man. How many Spider-Mans did we have? We had 3.
3 movie versions, yeah.
3 movie versions and then an animated version.
Yeah.
So, Batman has definitely taken that shift, you know.
Well, Batman kind of always has been. Batman and Superman. Because, I mean, they've had how many Superman?
Oh, God.
How many Superman TV shows?
Other than, I guess they should have started with Superman.
Yeah. He's like the poster boy for... We keep making him and James Bond. We just keep doing it and just switching out people over and over again.
Yeah.
Well, which is fine. You know, it's like these characters, you know, this is the argument I always make to people when they try and blow off superhero movies and geek culture and stuff like that. And I'm like, these are our cave paintings. These are our myths. These are our gods. These are, you know, the stories that we tell around campfires. This is our version of that. Superheroes and comic books are our version of, you know, the Greek gods or the Asgardians or any of that other kind of mythological shit. This is our version of that. Like, you wouldn't, you know, mock and make fun of, you know, Greek mythology. So why would you make fun and mock superhero mythology? You know, it's all fake shit that we've made up to entertain ourselves. So it's like, what makes that any more relevant than this? I'm like, hell, if anything, I feel like this is more relevant than those things because these characters are relatable as people and humans.
Either that or, you know, they tie into those.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, Asgardians, Thor. You know, we have...
The Greek gods with Wonder Woman,
Wonder Woman,
yeah.
You know, I think that our superheroes and our comic book characters, they're a way to connect to these other relevant mythologies that are out there.
Sure.
And why is it so... Why hate on something that is, one, liked by many? There's a huge fan base. And then, 2, why's it got to be one or the other? Why can't you just... Hey, it works for you, cool, fluid and moving. I don't know.
Yeah, no. It's,
call me a hippie, but that's how I feel.
no. I've actually not thought about it that way, but I actually like that analogy. Like I would co-sign that superheroes and science fiction stories, all that stuff. Like it's our way of trying to connect to something bigger than ourselves, or trying to explain things bigger than ourselves, and that's totally fine. I think that's why these things resonate with people and have been around for so long, because it's more than just the fighting and the costumes and the names and the villains and stuff. Like
right.
It means something to people. Like, and to some people it means everything to them.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, I would put this in the same category as A Tale of Two Cities, Mark Twain, anything he's ever written, Shakespeare, the Bible. You can throw that shit up there with all that. Like, this is just as relevant. Look, Amazing Spider-Man #1 would go up there with, the Torah and everything else. So there you go. The Dead Sea Scrolls, all that shit. But anyway, on to the main event.
Oh my gosh.
So, we have teased and talked about this for months now, but now we are finally going to get into it. DJ Melly Mel, tell the people why you hate Batman Begins.
Why don't I hate Batman Begins?
God damn. I didn't expect it to start with that. Go ahead.
There's one, maybe two things that I like about Batman Begins.
Okay.
It was the first live version that we saw of the Scarecrow, so that was kind of cool. I enjoyed seeing the Scarecrow on screen. I think he's a villain that doesn't get enough credit.
Yeah, no. In the animated series and the comics, yeah, he's a very big character, but in the movies they've always kind of which is weird because he's one of those characters that it'd be. I mean, look at what they did in the Nolan movies. He's an easy character to do.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of fantastical, crazy shit.
No, not
and
really.
What's cool is that you can do all that crazy shit and then explain away like, oh, it was the drugs. You were hallucinating.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I'm sorry. Continue.
Well, so I definitely liked that the Scarecrow was presented. I like that it kind of showed the grimy, gritty mobster kind of side of Gotham, as opposed to the 90s movies where they focus on crime in Gotham, but not necessarily that it's the mob providing the crime. And then, there's that famous end scene with Katie Holmes.
Yes.
That I am sure most people who have watched Batman Begins knows exactly what I'm talking about. I would say, all of the male population and...
Katie Holmes' titties, yes, is what she's talking about.
They all know.
So, I wanted to because...
Not that that's a preference of mine.
Sure.
I'm just saying...
Sure. Just in general. Okay.
The scene heard round the world.
Oh, yeah. There you go. The tits scene round the world. There you go.
There you go.
So I want to... Because we're going to go deeper into this, but I want to kind of preface some of this stuff. Okay. So, Batman Begins, if you were living under a rock or something, was directed by Christopher Nolan. The movie came out in 2005, and it has an 84% critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes and a 94% audience rating on Rotten Tomatoes. So you are in a very small minority that do not like this movie, which is fine. Everything is subjective, so
of course
that's fine. I posted on Twitter a tweet talking about how we were recording tonight and how you were going to explain how you had some of your issues with it. And we had some kind of interesting responses. So one of the people who responded, the most okayest podcast, they say that you can't hate Batman Begins unless it's specific to Katie Holmes. Then we had another one from the So Wizard podcast that says, I don't hate it, but it's super overrated. And then in all caps, it's swear to me. And then we got from the Pod Squad, SKWOD, not
If y'all
SQUAD.
could see the look on my face.
Oh, yeah,
And the
yeah.
eye roll that I just gave him.
Oh, you know Batman's fucking bad voice is hilarious. It's dumb as shit, but it's been a joke for too long now. And then, yeah, from the Pod Squad, they say Katie Holmes' nipples deserve top billing in that, which I laughed so fucking hard. And then we also got another one from You, He, and Me podcast. They said, I did my best Michael Caine Alfred impression at the start of our latest episode, so if you need a cameo, ... just saying. So, hey, maybe we can get an Alfred in here to be like, I failed, Joe. Mr. Way. That was a really bad impersonation. Oh, God. I live to do really bad impersonations if you guys haven't figured that out yet. Just wanted to put that out there.
Stick with the high-pitched ones.
Yeah, oh, fuck. And then we had another one here from Snackmasters Inc. Actually, he just put a GIF of of Arnold Schwarzenegger from Batman and Robin. The scene where he says, all right, everyone, chill.
That wasn't bad. It wasn't
That
bad.
one was pretty decent. Well...
Arnold and high pitch.
There we go. My
like
girlfriend says all my impersonations sound like Arnold, so whatever. Besotted Geek, they did not. I'm gonna assume they did not agree with your point, and
Yeah,
we got
I'm
a
pretty
GIF
sure.
of Jazzy Jeff being thrown out of the Fresh Prince's house. So I'm pretty sure that's a get the fuck out of here. Two girls on the bench, Trisha and Shauna.
Yes,
Thank you.
my girls.
They said, why didn't Keaton just keep playing Batman? You know, I would have loved that too, but I honestly think I know the reason for this. I'm pretty sure that when the first Batman came out, you know, it was really successful. Everybody loved it. And the studio was just like, Tim Burton, go do your thing with Batman Returns. Have at it. You got free reign to do whatever. And he turned that into some weird goth shit, and it was like really sexualized and creepy. And the Penguins talking about killing kids and shit in the movie. And they were making Happy Meal toys out of this shit, you know.
Were.
And McDonald's, specifically, McDonald's is the reason that you can thank for Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, because they complained that they would not sell toys for the next Batman movie because it was so dark unless they lightened it up. So Keaton got the boot, Burton got the boot, brought in Schumacher and Clooney Schumacher
Kilmer.
and Kilmer and Chris O'Donnell. And we were off to the races from there. So you guys can blame McDonald's and Happy Meals for ruining Batman. So there you go, Trisha and Shauna. Then we got from the Stranger Lands. They said, what's up with the way they pronounce Ra's al Ghul? It's wrong and weird. And I agree, because I think we talked about this once before. It is Ra's. It is not Raish or any of that other shit. It's Ra's al Ghul. So, yeah. And David of Murder Dice Podcast says, it's the weirdest, drives me nuts. Then... But and then we got another one from the Most Okayest podcast, said Katie's home performance is the only reason you can hate Batman Begins. ... Christian Bale hardly growls lines in this one, and I will actually agree with that. He growls in all three movies, but in Batman Begins,
He growls the least.
yes,
Okay.
it's the most coherent that he is of all the three movies.
But he's still got this fake Batman voice.
It is overly.
It is overly like.
Well, Ra's al Ghul says in the movie, he was like, "You took my advice about theatricality a bit literally." So
Right.
you know he's going out of his way to be scary and you know all that shit.
Batman's not scary. Batman is the defender of the night, and he himself is scared.
Sure.
But
Well, he does try to use fear to prey upon those who would hurt the fearful.
right,
So
But he
I get
doesn't-
what he's trying to do, but he's not literally trying to be like, "I'm
He's
a
not
boogeyman."
Jason,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, right,
He's
right.
Not out slashing people.
Yeah, it's like he don't need to speak
he
in no
doesn't
growly
need to
voice.
Be scary. He
Yeah.
just needs to be intimidating.
Yeah,
There's
it's like
a difference.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. That's fair because I don't need you to talk like you got a mouthful of glass to make me afraid of you. It's like when he hits you in the ass with a batarang or snatch you up by your leg and hanging you upside down from a fire escape and shit, it's like that's scary enough. You don't need to do all that other shit. Like, don't get me wrong. Because, okay, think about it. Now, I am on the other side of the spectrum on this. I enjoy 2 of the 3 Christopher Nolan Batman movies. The Dark Knight Rises is shit. And when we get to that one, I will shit all over that movie with you the whole fucking time. That movie is shit. The only thing I like about The Dark Knight Rises is Bane's voice. Because it's so random and weird and out of place and does not fit his character that it's the best thing in the movie.
You know, when I did when I sent out the tweet about watching all of the superhero movies, Batman Begins popped up, and Batman
The Dark Knight.
Batman Begins and The Dark Knight both popped up.
Okay.
The Dark Knight Rises would not even come up on Google. I knew there was 3 of them, and I couldn't remember what the name of that third one was.
Everybody hates The Dark Knight Rises. It was the disappointment of the year.
Google just kept telling me, nope, there's only 2. There's only 2. It kept popping up only The Dark Knight and Batman Begins.
Yeah, it was like, don't worry, but there is only 2 Nolan movies. We're not going to talk about that third one.
Right.
But I mean, so yes, I'm on the other side of this. I rather enjoy Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. But I do have some issues with it as well. So I will kind of play devil's advocate to this somewhat and kind of help you out with this.
Yeah, because I'm about to hate all over this. All over this.
So, okay. So as far as my likes, I'll get that out of the way first. Things that I liked. I like that Gotham City feels more like a city in this. In Tim Burton's movies, it never felt like it was a real city. It always felt like it was a set, or it was like a studio. It never felt like real people lived here. It was very contained in alleys and inside buildings. You never really got to see the city itself.
Okay,
there was no real...
I'll give you that.
There was the car chase in the first Batman, and there's kind of one in Batman Returns at the beginning where he's like driving around hitting the clown people from the circus or whatever. But even in those, like I said, they're all in alleys and shit. You're never on any real streets, and no one's really chasing them. Like, they're running on foot, and he has their car remotely coming to him in the first Batman. There's never, like, a car chase like it is in Begins. In Begins, they on rooftops with the car and all. He's like, what is he driving? A black tank. Like, that line is hilarious still. So, let me get my things that I like.
Go.
So, okay. I like the fact that Gotham feels like a real city. I like the car chase. The train scene is good. I was always a little divisive about the line that he says about like, oh, I see that you've gone back on your no killing rule. And he's like, I don't have to kill. I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you. I always was like, that's still the same as killing. Because I'm like, if you see someone drowning and you don't help them, you killed that person. I'm sorry. Or I'm sorry.
You let them
If you
die.
had the ability to act and chose not to, is the same as murder in my eyes. Just saying. Anyway, perfect example, if anyone has ever seen Breaking Bad, the episode where Aaron Paul's girlfriend, Kristen Ritter, ODs and chokes on her own vomit, and Walter White is standing over her, and he could wake Aaron Paul's character up. He could tilt her over so she can throw up, but he watches her choke to death on her vomit while she's OD'd and dies.
Oh, that's very...
If you've never seen Breaking Bad, you need to see Breaking Bad. No, you don't, because you
never
will never
seen
see
Breaking
any of
Bad.
the other shit that you need to see.
That is very vividly...
Oh, yeah, it's fucked up.
Descriptive.
Oh, yeah, no, it's fucked up. It's a great show, but that scene is fucked. Anyway, but then, besides the train scene, and we just talked about this, but making Batman scary again, and I specifically wrote that down because... After Batman, Forever and Batman and Robin, Batman was a fucking joke. Like, he needed to be serious again after that shit.
I like Batman Return, or Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. However, I have always said that if you want a front row pass to the cheese factory, for the love of God, go watch Batman and Robin if you have not so yet.
Oh, sure.
That being said, I still like them.
That's fine.
I will sit down and I will watch Batman Forever. I will watch Batman and Robin over and over and over and over and over again. But to sit down and watch any of the Christopher Nolan Batmans, I can't do it. Like, I've seen them probably 3 times all the way through. I've started watching them numerous times, and I either get halfway and I stop, or I pick up where I left off previously, and I can't.
And
Can't
hey,
do it.
like I said, everyone has different tastes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite thing out of all 3 of the Dark Knight movies is Commissioner Gordon. Hands down, the best Commissioner Gordon we have ever had. You can make the face at me all you want to. You gonna tell me that the fat dude from the Tim Burton and Joe Schumacher Batmans, that Commissioner Gordon is better than fucking...
Yes, I will.
God damn it, why am I blanking on his name? He plays Severus Snape in Harry Potter movies. He's in The Fifth Element. He's
Gary
the villain.
Oldman.
Gary Oldman, yes, thank you. What is you even saying to me right now? Like, what? Who? Do you even know the name of the actor that played the original Commissioner Gordon?
Billy D. Williams.
No, that is fucking...
I lie.
No, that is goddamn Two-Face. Billy D. Williams in the original Batman movie, he plays Harvey Dent.
I know.
He never comes back in the next one. They got Tommy Lee Jones in the third one and shit. And it was like, wait a minute. When did Billy D. Williams become Tommy Lee Jones? I was like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
Because they kind of just brushed under the rug. Yeah.
Into a white guy.
I was like, how did Lando become the dude from fucking The Fugitive and shit? Like, how did this happen? But yeah, the Men in Black dude. But anyway. No, the old fat
old
guy.
guy.
Yeah. He was Commissioner Gordon in the other movies. He was shit.
I liked him.
No, fucking Gary Oldman is dope as Commissioner Gordon in these. They actually gave him a character arc and something to do in these movies. He was more than just the guy who turned on the bat signal. Because that's all he ever was in most iterations of him. Besides, like, the cartoon show. That was the only thing that ever really fleshed him out as a character. Because, I mean, in the comics, Commissioner Gordon, his daughter is Batgirl. He has been Batman himself. I'm like... He is a character just as much as anybody else in the Batman, family.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in the other movies, he always kind of got shit on. He was a joke. And it wasn't until Batman Begins where they were like, no, he is a cop. And he is more of a hero than Batman is because he's trying to do shit the legal way. You know what I'm saying? Like, probably the harder way.
I like his
Gary Oldman is a shit. You can't say nothing bad about him.
I like his presentation in Gotham. I mean, honestly.
Oh, the guy who plays Commissioner Gordon in Gotham? Okay, sure.
He's not Commissioner Gordon yet.
He's just Gordon, yeah.
Detective Gordon. But I think they've done a really good job presenting that, importance of Commissioner Gordon. The importance of him trying to protect the city without breaking the law kind of thing. I like that. That's probably one of the reasons why I like Gotham.
and that's fine. That's fine.
I just...
Okay. So now I'm going to get on your side.
Okay.
Dislikes.
All right, here...
Right. Clear my throat. Every fight scene in that movie is poorly shot, even worse choreography, and you can never tell what the fuck is going on. Like, Christopher Nolan cannot shoot action scenes. He just can't.
Thank you.
They're shot way too close. It's really... there's a lot of jump cuts and a bunch of editing. Usually in movies where they film fight scenes really up close and there's a lot of edits and shit, is because... the actors or the stunt choreographers did not put together a good fight.
You get lost in his fight.
Yeah, they didn't put it together correctly. And so they have to film it in a way to where you can't really see it at a wide angle. Because if they would go back and just show you the fight, like if you were just watching two people fight on the street, then you'd see all the mistakes in how choreographed and fake it looks. Good action directors can, like, I don't know if you've ever seen the Raid movies or... Rumble in the Bronx, any Jackie Chan or Bruce Lee movie, like the camera is here and these motherfuckers just bouncing all over the screen fighting and shit.
Yep.
They ain't doing all this following them around and all this. It's like, yeah, they may zoom in for a punch, to show like the impact or something. Or to show like, oh, he just broke his leg, so he kicked him in the knee. They might zoom in on that. But for the most part, it's wide angle shots and you can see the fight as it's happening. You can see the guys getting up that he knocked down and everything else.
We don't have this shaky Blair Witch shit.
Right. Where it's all like right up in their face and shit. And it's like, I know he got hit, but I don't know by who or with what body part. I just know something hit him. He could have kicked him, punched him. I don't fucking know. Because they cut the other dude halfway out of the shot. But yeah, so all the action scenes are shit. Like in all three movies, they're bullshit.
And they seem to get worse.
In
Batman Begins, they were bad.
Yeah.
In The Dark Knight, they were really bad.
Yeah.
And in The Dark Knight Rises,
they were at their worst. And what made me so frustrated with that was the movie in particular where they needed to work on the fights the most, because that was the one movie where it was all about Batman having to come up against somebody who was a physical match for him.
Sure, and
because all of his other
dark
villains,
Batman.
Yeah, and because all his other villains, you know, the Scarecrow ain't finna get into no fucking fist fight with Batman.
Hell
the
no,
Joker's not gonna get into a fist fight with Batman.
Both of them are all psychological.
Right, Ra's al Ghul, yeah, he will fight Batman, but Batman always beats him, but the motherfucker can't die anyway, so he's just a recurring thing anyway. Bane was the one character where it was like, this is the one dude who you can't just scare him with, you know, smoking shit and being in the shadows and whooping his ass, because he know how to do all that shit too, and he is just as strong, if not stronger, than you are. So, yeah, that was the first time where he went up against somebody to where he was a physical, you know, threat to Batman, and that fight scene was terrible. Like, when he picks him up to break his back, we're going to get to... Not tonight.
You're getting ahead of yourself.
Yeah, I know.
Here.
But when he breaks Batman's back, which was the iconic scene from the comic books, it looked so fake. Like the way he picked him up, I was like, he ain't even struggling to lift him. You could tell he's on wires and shit.
On wires.
I was like, man. Anyway. So fight scenes, shit in every fucking movie.
Absolutely.
Lame ass jokes. The humor in Batman Begins is so corny and shit. When Alfred says that line to him...
The jokes in Batman and Robin were the absolute
cheesiest, sure.
But they were funny.
I
thought they were funny.
That's debatable, but sure, okay, sure.
The jokes in Batman Begins, you just want to look at them and you're like...
I'll give you this. The Batman and Robin and Batman Forever jokes... They were dumb, but they knew they were dumb.
Right.
Like when he pulls out the back credit card.
That they were dumb.
Yeah, he's like, never leave home without it. Like, we know that's dumb. Oh, I'll get drive-through, all that shit. We knew that shit was dumb.
What did we say last week? If you acknowledge that...
Yeah, if you acknowledge it's dumb, you can get away with anything.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you can look at the camera and wink, then we'll just go with it.
Yep.
But in the Batman Begins, the Nolan movies, they're earnest and they're serious about it. And that's what makes it bad. Like, when Alfred says that line to him... when Ra's al Ghul sets the house on fire and the log falls on him, the beam from the house. And he's like, what's the point of all those bloody push-ups if you can't, or what's the point of all those push-ups if you can't lift a bloody log or something like that? And I was like, that was supposed to have been funny?
Yeah.
I was like,
Michael Caine's a dry humor anyways.
Sure.
So them casting him as Alfred, any joke that they write into the script for him, it wasn't going to work for me.
I didn't mind him as Alfred. I thought he was okay. He did well enough for what they gave him to do. I mean, I believed his relationship of all the Batman movies. I'll say this. I believed his relationship with Bruce and the Nolan movies more than I ever did with the Tim Burton movies or with the new Batman. Like, I believe that they had that kind of surrogate father-son relationship, especially in the third one where they have the breakup and he's like, you know, I don't want your help anymore, you know, leave, and he cries, and we're gonna keep going back to The Dark Knight Rises. There's no getting around it. But the scene where towards the end, after everybody thinks Batman is dead and he fakes his death, and Alfred's like crying at his cemetery, he's like, I failed you, and all this shit, and I was like, that was a dick move, man. Like, regardless if he finds out you're alive at the end or not, if Alfred had never went back to that place, he would have always lived with the guilt of, I didn't stop him. I could have called the police. I could have stopped him from doing this, and he's dead now because of me. And I was like, that was a dick move. Like, that I didn't like. But anyway, Alfred was cool. The jokes were corny, though. The jokes were not funny.
Corny.
There's one, I think, that Katie Holmes makes at some point in the movie where I was like, yeah, that shit wasn't funny either. There was just a couple of the only joke that I did laugh at was the Ra's al Ghul joke, where I said it earlier, where he's like, you took my, you know, advice about theatricality a bit literally. Like, that was when he first shows up and he sees him in the whole bat suit and shit, and he's like, ooh, like, I didn't mean all this shit. He was like, look, I just was going to give you a ninja suit and a sword. I didn't think he was going to go get a cape and ears and all this other shit. He was like, you went way far off the deep end of what I was talking about. Then...
that bat suit.
The fucking voice. That Batman voice is terrible. I don't know. Okay. So I've watched a bunch of behind the scenes about this movie, and I'm pretty sure Christian Bale says how the voice came about was he felt like when he was in the suit, he was like an animal. He said he felt like a panther or something, like some kind of feral, like especially the way the neck is all big and bulgy in the back. Like it's almost like a lion's or a panther's neck or something like that, like an animal. So he was trying to, I guess, get into character and feel like you would feel as a Batman, I guess, and that is the voice that he came out with. And it's acceptable enough in the first movie.
No, it's not.
But it does get progressively worse. Like I said, I could mostly understand what he was saying. It sounded dumb, I'll give you that. But I could mostly understand what he was saying. I think it was the second one where it was really bad. Where like he's talking to those guys who are like the Batman impersonators. And he's like, we're out here trying to make a difference. What makes us different from you? And he's like, I'm not wearing hockey pads. And it's like, like what? Hockey pads. It's like, okay. I was like, I don't know. Like maybe Christopher Nolan just likes weird voices because the Bane voice was weird too.
Yeah, I guess.
But anywho, then the suit itself
was ugly.
No, the suit in Batman Begins never bothered me because that was more closer to the traditional Batman suits of old. It was when in The Dark Knight when they changed the suit. That's when it started to look kind of weird. It looked looked more tech heavy than like a superhero costume. It looked almost like armor more than anything, which for what he was going for in his movies with the realism, like I get it.
I would say he looked like the Bat Ninja.
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
Ninja Assassin.
Sure.
There was a Ninja Assassin comic or a Batman Ninja.
Yeah. It just came out. Yeah, Batman.
Somewhere in there.
Ninja Teen Titans Go. Who fucking knows?
No, it was...
No, I know what you're talking about. It's an animated movie, and it's in feudal Japan, and the Joker's in it, and they go back and
Samurai
past.
Batman, that's what it was. There was a Samurai Batman comic line.
Yeah, it's anime. It's a movie.
Oh, it was an anime?
It just recently came out, actually, too. I was trying to see if we could find it so we could watch it and then do a review on it. But anyway... No one cares about that.
They took his suit and it looks like it's pieces of that.
Yeah.
And I know in the Batman Begins, he's traveling the world and he's, trying to find whatever it is that thinks he's got to find.
Yeah, sure.
And I know he ends up in Japan.
Yeah.
But they ain't got to take his suit and make it a Batman Chinese samurai guy.
Sure.
Japanese samurai guy.
Well, the one thing I liked about the redesign was
and the bat symbol.
Yeah. The one thing I did like about the redesign is that he could turn his head, because that has always bothered me in all the Batman movies. Because
you don't like the Michael Keaton?
No. Because if you go back and watch the older Batman movies,
or like peek out the corner of your eye.
Yeah, in the original, the first one with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson. When Batman goes to blow up the Ace Chemicals plant, and he thinks the Joker is there, but he's not, and he sees he's on the helicopter. He's like standing facing the Batmobile, and like the Joker puts a spotlight on him. He's like, "Ah, Batman, miss me!" And he turned like his whole body to look. Yep. It was so funny. But he made it look cool. I mean, it was awkward, but they made it look cool. They shot it the right way to where it was like, it never really bugged me. But even still, they do this thing in The Dark Knight to make him more agile and can be, more flexible. But the fights are still shitty.
Right.
It's like, I need to be able to move and turn my head. And it's like, for what? So you can still have bullshit ass fights that we didn't like in the first place?
The agility of the suit was okay.
Sure.
Like I said, I was impressed with an agility of a suit.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's the wrong color. It's like too dark and creepy for me.
Sure.
I don't like the bat symbol at all. I absolutely can't stand that weird pointy. No, the bat symbol is rounded.
Yeah. Now, do you like the way it looks now in the new Batman? Like the big, wide, like
no, I don't
brick
like
house
either.
Bat. Yeah, it's like, why is the bat on steroids now?
I like it more than the Christopher Nolan symbol.
Sure.
But I don't like that either.
Okay.
I like
You like the OG
the rounded
with the yellow back and
it
all that.
It doesn't even have to be
Okay,
yellow.
but you want the
I
rounded
want the
corners
rounded
and all that.
wings.
Yeah. Okay.
I just
You don't like the sharp edges.
I don't like them sharp edges. They look weird to me.
Note to self: DJ Melly Mel does not like sharp edges.
Nope, I like things rounded.
There you go. Okay, that's fair.
That face mask.
Yeah, I didn't like the cowl.
I understand that you gotta hide Batman's face, and Batman's face has always been hidden. But why has he got like a U? I'm trying to talk with my hands like you guys can see me.
Yeah, right.
But why does he have this crazy just U on the side of his face?
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Like Batman doesn't have cheeks or what? Come on now.
And honestly, I think I didn't like Ben Affleck's version of Batman or his cowl because I thought that they made it too tight around his cheeks and it made him look fat because it looked like his face was too big for the mask.
Like that either.
It was like it was spilling out of it, and it was like, I think because in the original '89 Batman, Michael Keaton's mask was kind of too big for his head. So there was like these weird gaps in between.
See, I liked
so like
that.
sometimes when he would turn a certain way, you could kind of see a space in between his face and that.
I liked that because it kind of he was hiding in the shadow of the suit.
Okay.
Whereas Nolan's Batman, it just looks like somebody took a Sharpie to his whole head, except for this U that's like around his mouth.
Okay.
And then as far as Affleck's Batman, he's trying to fit a size 6 into a size 2.
Yeah, no,
And
he
it
looks
ain't
like he's like
happening.
stuffed into that fucking suit. I do not like. I like the Batfleck is probably the most visually comic book accurate version
Sure.
of Batman, like with the color scheme and the way the costume looks.
We're getting there.
Right, but it's like you can't try and make a real 3-dimensional person be built like the way they drew Batman in the comic
animated
books in the
series.
animated series. Like, they literally had Ben Affleck work to the point where, like, he's shaped like a triangle.
Mm-hmm.
He has, like, these upside-down triangle. He got these big-ass broad shoulders, and then he just comes to a point at his waist, and then it just goes down from there. It's like, no one is built like that. It's
Right.
like he looks weird when he wears regular clothes, because you can tell they're, like, custom-fitted suits because he's just so stocky and shit. And then when he's in the batsuit is padded muscles. So his big ass is in there under even more big ass muscles, so he just looks bloated. Like he never
Big
looked
and bulky.
in the fight scene in BVS where he whoops all the people's ass and shit. He's all limber and agile, but I'm like, that ain't Ben Affleck big ass in there doing that shit because that motherfucker stomping around like no. But
Yeah.
I didn't like the cowl in Batman Begins, but the rest of the suit I was okay with. I never liked the fact that the cape was a different color black than the rest of the suit, though. That always bugged me. Because the cape was like this black fabric, but then the costume was this black rubber.
Yeah.
And in all the other versions, the cape and the suit were all rubber. This was the first time the cape was fabric and the suit was rubber. So it was two completely different shades of black that clashed with each other. I never liked that.
Yeah.
I'm like, his cape should look like it's one whole part of the suit
Right.
and not like an extra thing clipped on to him.
Right. It should be part of
The cowl.
yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Part of the headdress. So
Yeah.
like when you put your headdress on as
Right.
Batman, then it's all
It's one whole
you got
thing,
a cape
yeah.
behind you.
exactly. Agreed. Exactly. I didn't like any of the CG Gotham. Like,
No.
in the first Batman Begins, it wasn't until The Dark Knight where they actually went to Chicago and filmed it. The first one, they did a lot of sets and shit. And so, when they have that flashback of Bruce when he was a kid, talking to his dad on the train, talking about building a railway, and they look out the window, that whole city is CG, and it looks fake as shit. And I was just like, oh, this looks just as bad as the Tim Burton, like, background where it was, like, fucking...
The weird
drawn
statues.
art and shit. Yeah.
I like those. I thought those were
Yeah,
kinda
yeah, but I
neat.
could always tell it was fake, though.
Well, yeah, but it was 89 and
Sure. But I mean, okay. Overall, the movie itself, the story is actually pretty good. Like, I don't mind the story. How Batman is represented and how they demystified Batman is kind of what bothered me about it, because it's almost like, okay, so there was a couple, like, quotes that I wanted to get from Rotten Tomatoes that people have made about the movie that did not like it, like some reviews, right? And I'll get to it at the last one here. One is from someone named Dorothy Woodend from the Tai, British Columbia. She says, Batman Begins isn't a terrible film. It simply isn't that good. Overly long, vaguely goofy in places, and straining for gravity and dignity. It's the dignity part that is hard. And then there's someone named Josh Bell from Las Vegas Weekly that says, there's nothing particularly wrong with Begins, but in a way, that's exactly what's wrong with it. Saying like, well, it's not bad. It's just kind of meh, like that's basically what he's getting at. Then I got Roger Moore from the Orlando Sentinel, and he's a top critic. This is the quote in particular. When you shine too much light, you take away from the shadows. And without those, the Dark Knight is just a guy in a rubber suit mugging muggers. And what he said was really poignant to me because I was like, I actually really thoroughly agree with this point. When you explain too much about a character and how they became who they are, like, we haven't seen it yet. But for example, like with the Solo movie, when you go back and say, well, this is how he got the Millennium Falcon, and this is how he met Chewie, and this is how he got the gun, and this is how he met Lando, and yada yada. It's like you kind of demystify, and once you explain everything, it's not as cool anymore. It's like a magic trick. Once you know how the trick is done, it's not fun anymore. Right. It's fun because you're like, oh, how did they do that? It's like when Batman disappears suddenly and someone's talking to him and they'll look away and they'll be like, yeah, do you think it's such and such? And they'll look back and he's gone.
Right.
I don't need to see him shoot the grappling hook and go away from his perspective. Then they go, oh, where did Batman go? It's like, well, I know where he went. I just watched him go away when you turned your back. It's like when I don't see it and when I don't know these things, that's when it's exciting because it's like, it's a mystery now. I'm doing a little Mr. Burns hands and shit. I want to say that. But now it's like it's a mystery and it's something intriguing and you get to kind of play in your head and go and make up your own, scenario of how these things happened or how he got his training and stuff. So that was the thing I didn't like. It was like they kind of took all that away. It's like, oh, he went to Tibet. He was trained by Ra's al Ghul. They wanted him to be a ninja. He left the League of Shadows. That's where he got all this, theatricality and ninja stuff from. And it's like, I don't need you to beat for beat tell me how everything happened.
Right.
So, yeah. But, I mean, I don't know. I don't, even with the 10 minutes of complaints I just rattled off, I still rather enjoy Batman Begins.
And see,
I still do.
There was nothing about it. I didn't like the casting. I didn't like the tank. Since when does Batman drive a tank? He's not in the army. He's not in the Navy. He's Batman. He gets a Batmobile, not a freaking tank. He had a horrible suit. He had a horrible voice. I don't like Christian Bale. I think he's a horrible actor.
Oh, god damn. I mean, jeez.
The whole cast.
You need to see 310 to Yuma and a few other movies he's been in. Christian Bale is a good actor. I can't co-sign that one.
Movies.
Oh, okay. That's debatable, but I can't co-sign he's a bad actor. I don't necessarily like his Batman. I'll give you that. And that's fine. Have you ever seen American Psycho?
Yes, I have.
He's great in that.
I didn't like him in that either.
Oh, fucking hell.
I have not seen anything that there are movies that I've seen that I'm like, sure, I like that movie.
Sure.
But his particular ambiance in any kind of movie and just like, ick. He makes me just so mad.
Okay.
I don't think he's a very good actor.
That's fine.
I liked Morgan Freeman.
Oh, yes, Lucius Fox, yeah.
I liked Morgan Freeman.
I always feel bad because I always forget he's in these movies because his part's so small. But yeah, no. They gave him a bigger part in the third movie. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he was kind of irrelevant.
I just thought, I don't know.
Oh, okay. I got another one to go towards your thing. I blame Batman Begins. This was still the movie, and even more so the sequel to this. But we can blame this for turning all the superhero movies into dark and gritty, like super serious, what if superheroes in the real world? It's like, stop doing that. Like, it can be exaggerated, ultra realistic environment. I don't need you to try and go, what if Batman was real? You know, and it's like,
See,
and then they
I
have to
want
make
the
everything
superheroes
real.
to be out of the real world.
Right, exactly. I
That's
live
why-
here. I don't want to see a movie
I
about
want to
this.
escape to.
Thank you.
I want to escape to Gotham City,
There
or
you
I
go.
want to escape to Metropolis,
Could you
which
imagine
is
if they...
actually a real town, by the way. I've driven. past
Oh yeah,
it.
nice,
Yeah.
nice. Well,
But-
they kind of did it in Man of Steel, but it's almost like if you took Superman and it'd be like, what if Superman was real? Then they'd be like, oh, well, he wouldn't be able to fly, but he could jump really far. And it's like, well, he wouldn't have laser vision per se, but
He can have X-ray vision.
right, you know. And it's like, yeah, when you start trying to make it too realistic or put them in a real environment, you kind of take away from what makes the character,
Exactly.
you know, interesting to begin with.
Exactly.
But I mean, whatever. I will say, you know, if I had to grade or rate Batman Begins, I'd probably say about a 6.5, 7 out of 10.
That much?
Yeah, it's like I said, I like the movie. Like I said, there's things about it I don't like, but I still like it.
My list is shorter. I really can't pick up any other points that I like about the movie.
Okay.
And it continues into The Dark Knight, and it continues into The Dark Knight Rises. It
Oh
just
yeah.
once they had the precedent of the bad movie, in my opinion, the next ones were just awful.
Okay.
Couldn't stand the Joker. I know I'm gonna get shots fired for that one.
Boy, you don't even know how much shit you go
You
catch for
know,
that.
We'll save that one for another show.
Okay.
Because I'm sure I'm going to get all kind of...
Oh yeah. The hate will be coming your way.
As much as I hated on Batman Begins, I hated equally and probably a little more on The Dark Knight.
Damn. Yeah, see, because I think people were salty at you about just not liking the Dark Knight trilogy. I don't think that they know that you especially don't like Heath Ledger's Joker. That's what's going to catch you to shit. They'll excuse just the movies in general, but Heath Ledger is like a god to men. So
I know. And I can't...
It's okay.
I
It's
can't
okay.
do it.
It's okay.
I can't bring myself to be like, well, you know, no, it was not a good role for him.
Why
in
so
my
serious,
opinion.
DJ Melly Mel? Oh, anyway, but that is going to be part 1 of DJ Melly Mel versus. Now, we will, as time goes on, we will address The Dark Knight and we will address The Dark Knight Rises. And if you guys enjoy this kind of thing, then maybe down the road we will find a way to, I don't know, pick out maybe movies that you guys give us as one to watch, or just ones that we find or that we know that are highly regarded by most people, but that one of us hates.
Can't stand.
Yeah, so yeah, no, this could be fun. This could be fun. So yeah, so
We'll play with it. See
yeah,
what we
down the
can come up
road,
with.
eventually you'll get The Dark Knight, and eventually you'll get The Dark Knight Rises as well. And like I said, if these do well and you guys respond to it well, then we'll continue doing these. But anyway, it's that time again for America's #1 show, Dumb Shit of the Week. That's right, Dumb Shit of the Week is the show where you submit your findings of dumb shit and we talk about it. Want your submission on the show? Find us on Twitter at GiantLeap4Geeks, or you can email us at officialoglfg@gmail.com. Now here's your host, DJ Melly Mel.
Thank you. All right, we had a couple submissions. I say a couple. We had 5 submissions this week for Dumb Shit of the Week. And then, of course, I found my own. I always like to try to find one just in case we don't get any dumb submissions. You know, I don't want you guys to have to do my job, too. So, I at least got to have one. One in the bank.
But you guys have been doing very well.
You have. I'm very impressed. This week's Gang of Merry Men is no disappointment here. We have the Vicks Vapor Rub, and this was sent to us by Amber on Facebook. Now, this is about a woman from San Antonio, Texas, and she is 33 years old. She is addicted to Vicks Vapor Rub. Yes, Vicks Vapor Rub. You know, that nasty menthol cream that your parents put on you when you're sick. She has been addicted to this for the last 20 years. So since she was 13, this woman has been addicted to Vapor Rub. She spends at least $350 a month on this addiction. And she cannot go more than 30 minutes without a fix. She spends roughly a solid minute inhaling the vapor from the little tubes, which I didn't even know they still made anymore. She puts it on her eyelids. She claims that it's like squeezing lemon juice into your eye. Which
made me laugh, because I was like, who the fuck? Like, what? I mean, maybe if you were cutting lemons and did it by accident, but she's like, but like in a good way.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? I've never had a good eye sting
There's a video
before.
about her, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where we got the information about the lemons. She puts all over her body. She'll snort the inhalers. Mm-hmm. She goes as far as putting Vicks Vapor Rub on a tea bag, swirling it in a cup of tea, and taking a teaspoon of the Vicks Vapor Rub, also putting it in the tea, not just to smell, to ingest. She drinks the entire cup of tea. She will lick the containers. She will take her finger and stick this Vicks in the back of her throat. She said that she enjoys the hot and cold sensation and the moving, or the
hot and cold sensation moving back and forth in her mouth or whatever.
Moving back and forth. She puts it in the back of her throat. She sticks it on the tip of her tongue. She's been seen in the video just taking a container of Vicks and licking it.
Mm-hmm. Like licking like the residue out.
Yeah, licking
like some crackhead
cream.
Shit, yeah.
And, she gets this euphoric feeling from it. It started when she was sick, when she was 13, and she said that it just grew from there. Her children, this woman has children, which is a surprise there, because...
How she's not dead is shocking to me.
Last time I checked, Vicks is...
Not supposed to be ingested.
Edible, and says, please get poison control help if swallowed. Mm-hmm. Keep out of reach of small children, but whatever. Mm-hmm. She's probably built up an intolerance to it at this point. Mm-hmm. Her children hate that their mom is addicted to Vicks Vapor Rub, and they say that it makes their entire house stink.
I can imagine.
A little bit goes a long way with some Vicks. If this woman is taking it by the teaspoon and ingesting it, it's going to come out through her skin pores. If she's, constantly got it with her, that means it's always open. I can imagine how that would stink.
It's funny, because this actually reminds me of our dumb shit from a few weeks ago about the turd art. Mm-hmm. About the woman taking the different pictures of her poop. I wonder what this lady poops look like. With all the Vicks and shit that she eats. I wonder if it's just like a jelly turd just falls out. It's just like a Vicks
I can't imagine that it's a healthy...
It's probably not brown.
I can't imagine that.
Probably all like translucent, like
probably
the
green.
Rip. Ugh.
Like a weird snot color.
My thing is, bitch, just start smoking. I'm like, if you just need a menthol fix, go get a pack of Newports or some shit. Like, you don't need to be eating fucking Vicks Vapor Rub
or something.
Any goddamn thing. Go get them fucking. Go to a bank or anything like that. They got a jar full of candy peppermints up there, and just grab a bunch of that shit.
You can buy Lifesavers by the bag.
Any fucking thing, man. Anything besides eating a topical medicine. Like, the fuck is wrong with you, man?
Yeah.
Like, that'd be like eating sun cream or some shit. Like, it's just so...
Now, don't get me wrong. I love the smell of sunblock, but I'm not about to eat it.
Yeah,
not putting it in my tea.
Yeah, it's not tasty.
I'm not sitting here snorting it and sniffing it and...
Oh, yeah.
Like, in the video, this woman literally has this inhaler of Vicks, and she's just...
Yeah, and when we say inhaler, it's not like an inhaler an oral inhaler. Like, think of the nasal sprays that you use when you're congested and stuff.
And you can push the end of it.
Yeah, into your nostril. Yeah. But no, she just sits there and huffs it. Like, she's not sniffing that shit. That bitch is huffing Vicks Vapor Rub. She's getting high off that shit.
Stick the tube up her nose.
And like they said in the video, she will do it for up to a minute straight. Like, and cannot go more than half an hour without needing a fix.
Can you imagine be addicted to something that bad?
This is my thing. Does this bitch have a day job? Could you imagine her being at work and you just catch her back there eating fucking... It's like, you fired. Get the fuck out of here. Like, hell no.
Yeah, I don't know.
And if you can't go more than 30 minutes without it, like... Ain't nobody finna... Does she pretend that she smokes? And she's like, can I go take a smoke break? And she's outside huffing fucking Vicks and shit.
It didn't seem like she cared who saw her. She was walking up and down the streets of San Antonio licking the jar of Vicks.
Yeah, true, but... That's in public, though. At your job, that can't be a good look, though. Yeah, but that can't be a good look, though. It's like, yeah, she might not care about what people think about her, but it's like when you're at work, you're representing the business. Well, so it's like, if she's at work... Like, if she was, like, a secretary at, like, a dentist's office or some shit.
I guess if she's addicted to it, then at this point, it's almost like a compulsion thing where she doesn't really care. She's got to get her fix.
True. The real question is, who is fucking her?
Thank you.
Because she got kids?
Plural.
Yeah, she has two. Yeah, she's got more than one. I don't give a damn if she had a half a kid. I would not stick my dick in nobody who eats Vicks Vapor Rub. That bitch got issues, bruh. Like, I'm sorry. Like, how hard up was you for some pussy that you saw her at the club and she was like, oh, can I get a Long Island? And then she took a fucking spoonful of Vicks out of her purse and, like, dropped it in her drink and shit. And she was like, oh, hey, what's your name? Like, oh, what the fuck? No.
Like, who's this?
Right, bye, bitch. Nuh-uh. Hell no.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine. I can't even get Tyler to make peppermint tea for me when I'm sick. Vicks? Really?
See, this people like her are the reason why they end up locking up Tylenol and that kind of shit. It's because there's always some ass clown
in a
Ready Whip and that kind of shit.
Whip.
Yeah.
That is why that is under lock and key at some, the same up there with the whiteout and the fucking Sharpie markers and what was it when we were kids? Glue,
paint thinner, all kind of shit. Yeah.
Now they're gonna start locking up Vicks because
I was gonna say because motherfuckers has apparently found a way to get high off shit.
This is ridiculous.
But okay.
Second submission. Woke up thinking it was the morning. Now this is more kind of comical and kind of personal as opposed to a trend that's going on.
Sure. But hopefully the Vicks Vapor Rub isn't a trend. But hopefully it's just the chick from Texas.
We're just gonna, this one's kind of cute though. Dr. Notorious of the Notorious Jokecast. You can find him on Twitter at Notorious Jokes. He fell asleep at 7 p.m. Woke up at 8. Didn't think nothing of it. He fed the dog, made some coffee, walked around, got dressed. His wife asked what he was doing. He looks at her and he says, well, it's 8 a.m. I'm doing everything that I always do during 8 a.m. She says, nope, it's 8 p.m. You only slept for an hour, but okay. Dog had 2 dinners. This motherfucker didn't even say anything. He's just like, yep, you can feed me again.
He's like, hell yeah, I'll eat that shit. Hell yeah.
Do you remember the commercial where, I don't even remember what it was for, but it's a family and they're getting ready to go about their day. And the mom says, okay, guys, come on, I fed Muffin. And the daughter walks through and she's like, I fed Muffin, let's go. Dad goes, I fed Muffin, all right, we can go. And then the little boy comes toddling out and he's like, I gave Muffin some food. And they all leave. Well, then you see this picture of this bulldog and he's like 800 pounds because he ate 4 or 5 different times. Every time somebody's like, oh, well, my dog had 2 dinners, or...
You think of that fucking
I think of that commercial.
What is it for? Is it for a dog food?
I don't...
commercials are so weird. It was probably
I
for like
don't.
Windex or some shit, and it
I
was
don't
like, how did
even
that
remember. I'll have to look it up and let you know.
Okay.
But it's, you see this big ass bulldog and Muffin's like waddling around because Muffin got 5 dinners.
I was like, a muffin shaped like a muffin now. Shit. But I found this particular one pretty funny because it was, I personally have never done anything like this, but I've woken up thinking it was a different time than what it really was. But not within an hour.
I would say I've never done
I was like, what the
it
fuck
to
kind of
this
power nap was you
extent.
taking? Yeah, it was like...
Okay, what kind of drugs were you on?
I know, I was like, man, I was like, he went to sleep for an hour and woke up and was like, it's a new day. Shit, get the coffee boiling. Like, your body didn't feel like it hadn't been rested that long? Because that, like, you must have had like a crazy dream or some shit.
I mean, I've laid down after a really hard day, and I've woken up probably 3 or 4 hours later.
Sure.
And my body's like, yeah, we're good to go. But that was on a day or a time where I had been up for 36 hours.
Oh, fuck.
So I just dropped dead.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And then, I had only slept a couple hours, and I woke up and I'm like, what time is it? You get the drool all coming out of your...
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, never to this extent. I've never...
Not
I've
within
heard
that close
of
a time.
people, taking a nap when they're sick or something. Kids waking up and they start getting ready for school, or their parents laughing.
Maybe that's what it was, because I didn't probe and ask them. I was like, were you sick?
Maybe.
Was
It
it
been.
a partying night? Like, how did this... Tell me more about this. How did this happen? Like, what really went down that day?
So, Dr. Notorious, if you want to elaborate on
You're right,
this,
right.
feel free to send us a submission here.
I want to know what you were dreaming about.
Right.
That made you wake up within an hour thinking it was fucking, damn near 24 hours later. Like, yeah, so 12 hours.
12 hours, yep. Our third submission comes from our friend, famous Seamus of Chewed Gum. And you can find him at Seamus the Host on Twitter. He also has a few other names, but, you can get to him. Famous Seamus. His submission was about Floyd Mayweather. For those of you who don't know, if you've been living under a rock or something, Floyd Mayweather is a heavyweight boxer.
Yeah, he might be middleweight.
Okay.
Sure, we'll say
he's
heavyweight.
a professional boxer.
There we go.
We'll go there. Famous Seamus was talking about how CM Punk has requested a fight against Floyd Mayweather via MMA. Now, for those of you who don't know, CM Punk is a wrestler, and he went back to MMA. I think he started in MMA, then went to wrestling, and then went back to MMA.
Did he write comic books or something, too?
CM Punk? I'm not sure.
He's done something in the comic book landscape. I just don't know what.
He's big in wrestling and NXT, anything, if you follow that kind of, the WWE or anything like that. So, Floyd Mayweather has been reduced to stunt fights. Recently, the one with Conor McGregor, and then now with CM Punk. So,
yeah, I made a joke to Seamus when he left us as a comment, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I have a fucking fight with Floyd Mayweather at this point.
LL Cool J's got a fight with
pretty much, man,
Floyd
because
Mayweather.
PewDiePie versus Floyd Mayweather. Here we go. Like, because all he's doing is fucking. All his fights are just for shock value and hype.
Yeah.
Like, none
Nobody's
of this
taking
shit.
him seriously
Yeah,
anymore.
none of this shit is for a title, a belt, anything like that. It's just bragging rights and money is involved.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's almost like I think it's in Rocky 3 where he fights Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thunderlips.
Yeah. It's just some celebrity bullshit, And, but see, at least in that they were doing it for a charity, in the Rocky movie.
Mm-hmm.
This is just them just fattening their pockets and shit. Well, I think Floyd always has issues with the IRS or some shit.
Better pay them taxes,
Yeah,
boy.
I was gonna say, shit, don't get caught up like Wesley did. Wesley Snipes, for those who may not got that reference. But yeah, no, Floyd Mayweather, man. I mean, don't get me wrong, he could beat the shit out of me any day of the fucking week. I'm sure of it. But he's a joke anymore. Like, he's not. No one takes him.
Though. I mean,
No, I mean, in
he doesn't even specialize in MMA.
Right,
He's
but
a boxer.
in anything, well, when they did that Conor McGregor fight, they kind of had some MMA elements mixed into it.
Sure.
But it was like, I don't know, man. Like I said, at this point, it's just, it's just him collecting a check. It's like, who can I fight that's just going to be the most outlandish opponent that I can find who we know is not going to beat me? Like, no one ever for a second, and if you did, you were fucking dumb as hell. If you thought for a second that a trained professional multi-title defending, boxer was going to lose a boxing match to a, mixed martial arts fighter in a boxing environment. That was never going to happen. That'd be like trying to have a long-range shooter against a close-range shooter in a fight where the long-range shooter has the advantage. It's like you're not. It's no fight. It's no competition.
Right.
Now, if it would have been an even playing field and they would have just been no holds bars, no rules, then come talk to me. But this MMA shit, if it even fucking happens, there's going to be some stipulations that's going to handicap it to where it's going to benefit Floyd.
Of course.
Whatever. Like he's not going to step into the ring with nobody at this point where he knows he's going to lose.
No.
And that's the thing. He's just kind of coasting off his achievements so far.
I think your Rocky reference is a really good...
Yeah.
It's... Nobody does that much charity.
Right.
Bob Hope would. Better call Bob Hope.
But go ahead.
That's all I had.
Oh.
I was just... You said
No.
Rocky and it opened the door.
Sure. Hey, I love me some Rocky.
Hell yeah. Grew up on Rocky.
If I can change, and you can change, we all can change. Okay. Go ahead.
All right, so our fourth submission here is about dictionary.com.
Oh, this is the one that I screwed up.
Yes.
I misunderstood what the tweet was meaning. Technically, his dumb shit of the week was about something that James Caan said earlier in the week about we live in a strange time where women can't hit on men. And dictionary.com made a response tweet to that, and that's how I confused the two things. But dictionary.com is kind of a little well of funny, satirical little shit. So, but go ahead.
Basically,
continue.
they came in and they were trying to be Wendy's.
Oh, but wait. We got to make sure. Who sent us this one?
Oh, yes. Jason Harmon. And you can find him on Twitter at Urine All-Star. Now,
I had to read that like 6 times before I was like, what does that say? I was like, oh my God.
the way that it sounds...
Or the way that it's spelled.
The way that it sounds and the way that it's spelled are two totally different things. So I didn't see it spelled out. I just heard you're an all-star. My first thought was,
hey now,
you're an all-star. So Smash Mouth. Mike C. Squared here, on the other hand, had it spelled out in front of him, and it is spelled Urine, all-star.
So not you are an all-star, urine as in piss. And I was like, Jason, you all right? You just, hey, like the golden showers? No, I don't know. Maybe he just picked a name because he just thought it was funny. Maybe he was a really big R. Kelly fan.
Maybe.
The world may never know.
Anyways, he is on Twitter at URINE all-star, all one word. And basically he was talking about how, Wendy's, the Wendy's commercials where everybody's like, hey, Wendy's, what do I do this? And Wendy's got a snappy comeback. Well, damn it, dictionary.com. You clicked on that.
Hell yeah. They are the new Wendy's of Twitter.
Yes. Yes. Their page makes funny and satirical tweets. Ooh, I said it right. Close
Satirical. Yeah, it was close.
You had to kill me. All right. Basically, some of their examples were focused at James Caan, and they made the point out to say hit on and assault.
Oh, well, okay. In the parentheses there, that is the actual tweet, so you can go ahead and read the whole thing.
Okay. It says, it might interest James Caan to know that hit on, in quotes, and assault, also in quotes, have two completely different meanings. Hashtag, they're both in the dictionary.
Yeah.
/
Oh, no, this is a different tweet.
Okay. So a different tweet says Beavis Buttheads.
Well, it's like explaining. It's like Beavis is
Beavis
Buttheads.
Is two Buttheads. Beavis and Butthead.
Mm. But yeah, Beavis is Butthead's headbanging best friend.
There you go.
And Beeves are a whole lot of beef.
Right.
Apparently. Which I was like, I didn't know that Beeves was a word.
In this day and age, everything's a word.
It's like, thanks, dictionary.com, for appreciate that.
Right, we like that. Also, what do factual errors, misrepresentation of facts, and fabricated all have in common? They all mean that somebody's lying.
Yeah. And shots fired, dictionary.com, they got real political with that shit, because a lot of those terms, the factual errors, misrepresentation of facts, fabricated, are a lot of like talking points and terms that I've heard over the last 2 years with, the political climate that we're in, and alternative facts and all this other shit. Oh, shout out to
fake news.
Yeah, shout out to Alternative Facts Chicago podcast. Every time I see your guys' name, it makes me think of Trump. Not to associate that with you guys, but I do think that every time I see it. So shout out,
guys.
It started off supposed to be just about James Caan,
right?
But I actually found the dictionary.com thing to be much better, because I was like, well, it was dumb what he said, because he's conflating the issues. It's not an issue of men can't hit on women. It's an issue of there are basically, men being sexual predators against women, using their power and influence to, leverage sex against women, all kinds of shit. So, yeah, it for what he said was dumb, because no one's arguing that you can't flirt with or hit on a woman. It's that you can't sexually harass or
beat on
or rape or drug them or any other kind of fucked up shit that's been coming out in the last few things. Oh, and real quick sidebar, apparently Morgan Freeman has accusations against him now as well.
Doesn't surprise me. Nobody.
Well, it kind of surprised me that the man has played God in like every movie he's ever been in. So
it surprises
me
that it's Morgan Freeman.
Hold you to a higher standard, Morgan.
It surprises me that it's Morgan Freeman, but it doesn't surprise me that there is another set of allegations.
Oh, sure.
Meaning that nobody's safe.
No.
And, I'm not blaming the victim here if it happened.
Sure.
Which it may have. We don't know. I wasn't there.
Right.
If it did, I'm sorry. And he's not above the law either, just because he's Morgan Freeman.
No.
But as a listener, as a viewer, as a fan of his, it's not something that you expect from him. But then again, we didn't expect it from Cosby.
Bill Cosby. Yeah, of all people.
Thank you.
Yeah. But the first thing I thought of when I heard about the whole accusations against Morgan Freeman, it made me think of Wanted.
Okay.
When James McAvoy character is explaining the plot, how Morgan Freeman's been manipulating the list of people they're supposed to assassinate to kill people that he wants them to kill, and it's not just fate doing it and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And Morgan Freeman's getting pissed off, and it made me think the line that he says in that movie, I'm like, this is probably what he's saying on TV or yelling at the TV while these accusations are coming out about him. It's like, Morgan Freeman has been accused of sexual harassment today. And I could just see him just yelling at the TV screen, shoot that motherfucker.
Okay, it's Morgan Freeman, not Samuel L. Jackson.
No,
okay?
You must ain't seen Wanted in a while. He says shoot that motherfucker in Wanted. That shit is hilarious. I was like, oh my God. So yeah, that's one of the few times Morgan Freeman has sworn in more recent movies. So like in his older shit, like in Stand By Me, where he's the principal, he's talking about he's the HNIC, the head nigga in charge. So Morgan Freeman ain't above hell. He played a pimp in some movie with Christopher Reeves back in the day where he slapped a bitch in the movie. So
I remember that.
He didn't had his moments. Yeah. He ain't above no shit. But anyway, sidebar ended. Dictionary.com. Shout out to your funny shit, and James Caan. Shut your old ass up. You don't know what the fuck you talking about. Hey, man, I love you in Godfather, man. That's one of my favorite movies, and that death scene is probably one of the most hilarious death scenes of all time. But you don't know what the fuck you talking about, so you should stay out of this one. Don't get your son fired off Hawaii 5-0 talking his bullshit.
Hell no. They would yank his shit. Be like,
Look, yeah. Dano is dead now this season. Sorry, guys.
We gonna book him, Dano.
Right, yep, look. Yeah, that's what they was telling your dad when they put his ass in fucking handcuffs for his sexual allegations and shit. Anyway.
Yep. All right, so the fourth story is kind of been in the news and out of the news, touchy story. This comes from Gidget Von LaRue of the Retro Cinema Podcast, and you can find her at Gidget, Gidgit, and I'm so sorry if I've butchered your name. Gidgit VonLarue, and that's on Twitter. The British government and legal system. So apparently, recently, British government has had controversies between Brexit, the recent story regarding governments refusing to let parents taking their dying child out of the hospital to take them for experimental treatments elsewhere. I think I read about this. I think it was the toddler, and he was real sick, and then...
yeah, because there was a recent story,
recently.
Yeah.
Last couple months or so. And these parents did everything that they could for their kid, and they wanted the doctors to keep trying. He had some kind of terminal illness. And the submission was just about how this British government, I guess, really...
It's just dumb in general.
I mean, that's... If it's my kid and traditional medicine's not working, as a parent of this child who is a minor, I should have the right to take my child wherever I think is going to be best.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you see parents, they can take their kids to church and have them prayed on, or you can see people that do exorcisms, which are still a thing.
Sure.
Very weird and outdated, but they're still a thing.
Right, sure.
You know, I mean, as a parent, you should be able to make those medical decisions for your children, especially since they can't make them for themselves. Legally, a child has to emancipate themselves in order to even come close to making those decisions. And I don't think that a government should be able to say yes or no, you can't do that. I mean, as a parent, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a really slippery slope, because one of the issues is that, you know, the British government, or, you know, Great Britain in general, they have universal health care, you know, and they pay taxes into that and all that jazz. And the issue is because, you know, they are part of government-based, you know, healthcare and stuff like that. And then, you know, the British government has different laws regarding healthcare and treatment of patients and different things like that. But basically, you know, they're saying that it would be undue stress on the child and putting them through more unnecessary pain and suffering to take them somewhere and do these experimental treatments on them that might not work at all and may just make them suffer more and then die a more painful death than what they were already dying in the first place.
I mean,
because in that most recent case, they had taken the child off life support and he was still breathing unassisted. I think the father might have did CPR a couple times, you know, to help him keep breathing. But basically, I think he stayed alive for a good day and a half off life support, and they thought he was going to die pretty much like immediately.
Right.
You know, and at that point, it's like, you know, you would think that the physicians or the governing body or somebody would come in and say, you know what, if he's made it this long, we're going to leave that decision up to the parents and let them decide what they want to do to care for their child. Like, as long as they're not doing anything that's illegal or maliciously trying to hurt the child or doing something that they know is not for the child's well-being, then you should be able to do whatever the fuck you want to do. Like, you know, and there's another story that happened, I think either last year or earlier in this year, where it was a similar situation where child was on life support, child was dying, parents wanted to take him somewhere else, get experimental treatment, government wouldn't let them do it. It was a whole story about it. It was a whole thing. Then the government, you know, the whole Brexit issue has been a thing for the last like 2 years now. The guy who went to court and he was arrested and is going to court for hate speech because he made a YouTube video about this trying to make his girlfriend hate their little pug that they got. And he made a YouTube video where he had the pug watching like Hitler Nazi videos and like doing a Hitler salute or whatever, trying to make her hate the dog.
Wow.
It was supposed to be funny. Now, don't get me wrong. I didn't necessarily think it was a good joke. Do I think this motherfucker need to go to jail behind this shit? Fuck no. I'm like, look, if you can't make jokes about, bad shit or have dark humor, then I don't want to live in this world no more. Like, if I can't live in a world without dark humor now, not to say that excuses the shit Roseanne said,
no, not
that shit is
close.
Not, it's like that is just mean-spirited and meant to be hurtful. That's not meant to be funny to anybody.
There's a very
That's
fine
why when
line
she said it's a
between
joke,
the two.
I'm like, who's laughing at that?
Right.
Besides super far right-wing, crazy, racist, neo-Nazi motherfuckers.
Right.
Like, who is laughing at that? Who did you think was going to see that and be like, Planet of the Apes, Muslims, hilarious.
Right.
Like, the fuck? But anyway, between all that shit, the guy getting arrested about the Nazi video, then there was a story I just heard about a guy who was arrested for filming outside of a courthouse because apparently that's illegal in Britain because they don't want you to somehow influence the jury by filming.
Which,
I
mean, I kind of understand that point. I've always thought that media in the courtroom is a good thing, but it's not a good thing at the same time. It's one of them double-edged sword kind of things.
Sure, because I don't necessarily think they need to be in the courtroom per se.
I mean, I want to have faith in the justice system. And I want to believe that if ever sent to court, I want to know that the jury is impartial.
Sure.
However, big however,
you're right.
We live in a world where information is instant.
Yep.
And how many times a day do you look at your phone? How many times a day do you go to look up something and you see a clip or a story on Google and you're like, hey, I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. And then it spirals you down a rabbit hole. How many times do you walk into a grocery store and there's magazines everywhere? Mm-hmm. Now, granted, the truth of some of them may or may not be legitimate.
Sure.
But it's still there. It's still a thought. It's, you can't go on the internet and not see a podcast or a newscast or a whatever.
Sure.
And in today's day and age, our media is everywhere.
And I can agree with that sentiment, but I think though at the same time, and it's hard, for me to, our listeners that are across the pond, it's hard for me to put myself in that mindset because I am an American and I'm used to American laws and, our freedom of speech and everything else. It's a weird concept to me to say you can't talk about blank because of blank, because we don't want it to affect these people. Now, usually, yes, if it's like hate speech or trying to incite violence or something, sure, I get that.
Right.
But to say we can't even acknowledge the fact that this is happening because we don't want to influence the decision of these other people over here, it's like, well, you can't police the world and say... It's like that thing where... I'm going to be full of analogies tonight, guys. It's like that thing where, like, if you're at some kid's birthday party and they want to play this game. So now every kid in the house has to play the game that kid wants to play because it's their birthday. Because it's like, well, we can't have them unhappy. So all the other kids have to conform to this shit. It's like, well, maybe the kids can all play different games that they enjoy. And then your birthday boy can do the thing he likes with this group that wants to do that with them. And then the other kids can go do some other shit and everybody can still have a good time. No. We don't want to affect him. So we got to make everybody, adults and everybody, we all doing a slip and slide. Fuck what you thought was happening. Slip and slide for the rest of the party. So it's like that concept to me bothers me, that we're going to put the possible influence on the outcome of a trial at a higher priority than people's God-given right to express their opinions and talk about things that are happening in the world. You know, could you imagine if we couldn't talk about the OJ case or the R. Kelly case or Michael Jackson, Bill Cosby? Yeah, think about all these different things that have happened, and it's like we can't report on that, so no stories in the news about it, nothing. I mean, the whole, for example, the Trump-Russia investigation, if they couldn't talk about that shit, it's like, then you start getting into the murky waters of, well, how do I know ain't no corrupt shit going on behind the scenes if we have a media blackout and we aren't supposed to talk about this kind of shit? So I get your point, but I can also see the argument from the other side of the spectrum as well.
I can too.
Now, I'm sure there's a happy medium somewhere in between there.
And, you know, we don't know the exact laws. Like you said, we don't.
Yeah.
We live in America.
Yeah.
We are used to a different set of kind of laws and expectations and... You know, never been to Britain.
Would love to come, though.
I mean, I have one stamp in my passport, and it ain't to Britain.
Yeah, shout out to our British listeners. If y'all ever want to have us come out and do a live show at a pub, we'll come do it.
Heck yeah. I don't know. I don't think that we know enough about how their laws and stuff work.
Sure, yeah. We're not trying to be, you know,
we're not, you know, your number one news source.
Right, no,
like
this ain't Fox and Friends and shit, so you ain't gotta worry about that. So it's all good.
CNN or anything.
Right, no. But anyway.
Oh, I mean, it's still a legitimate submission.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
We want to
for sure. Sorry that one wasn't as funny, guys. That one was kind of more serious, dumb shit. But you know,
we wanted to take shout out to all the people that submitted a dumb shit of the week. We appreciate that. There's one more. Now, this is the one that I found on my own, and it's amazing. Even before we started this bit, I started finding these. I don't know if I just have a radar or like the people that I'm friends with on Facebook have really weird, fucked up, I don't know, the psyche on some of these people.
Okay.
It's kind of scary. But somehow, some way, this came across my screen, and it is the new trend. This is the one that I'm hoping, for the love of God, does not catch on.
Oh, God, I'm scared.
All right. We have eyeball jewelry. Okay. I'm going to say this again, very slowly. Eyeball jewelry. Get some bling by having platinum jewelry inserted into your eyeball. Now, this article that I have across my screen has come from thedailynet.com. And there is a graphic content warning. So I can put the link up if you guys want to see the picture of eyeball jewelry. You're not missing much other than a stomach-queasing picture. It says, proving that nothing is impossible, one doctor has taken his expertise and turned it on its head by performing a jittery eye surgery that involves insertion of jewelry into the eyeball. I can't make this up. All right. Here we go. Platinum eye jewelry is only done by one U.S. surgeon, and he is implanting these. He has only done 4 people so far. So let's stop with 4.
Right. It's like, yep, 4 is a good round number. Yep, we can quit there.
Hundreds have been done in Europe. So 3 people in the U.S., one was a Russian girl, and there are hundreds done in Europe without a single complication. The procedure is very safe without the risk of visual loss. The only complication has been minor bruising at the site of insertion which is usually resolved within a few days. It can be considered part of the normal insertion process. The implant that is going into the eye is a medical grade platinum, sterile and totally inert with the body without any chance of allergic reactions. Now, I want to know who the hell is funding studies to see whether or not this kind of metal is going to be an allergic reaction in your eye.
Yeah. Or I'm trying to figure out who was the first asshole that sat and went, I need something more to my eyes. I like my eyes. They're pretty and all that, but eyeballs are kind of played out. We need to do something new with them.
We need something fancy.
Right, I know. What can we do to spice up the eyeball? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
It says, the post continues to go about the jewelry. It's also polished without any sharp edges, and it is curved to conform the shape of the eye to prevent any chance of migration, extrusion, or intrusion. And for those of you that don't know, extrusion is popping out, where intrusion is being sucked in. Give or take.
Ugh.
A 3mm incision is made into the conjunctiva, which is the clear covering of your eye. There's a clear film over your eyes. That's what they're inserting this into. Mm-hmm. The implant is gently slipped in, and the incision is so small that no suture is needed. Well, that's good, because I wouldn't want you to have to put stitches in my eye next to my jewelry.
Right. I would hate for you to put stitches in my eye on top of my, new eyeball earring or eye ring? Oh, God, okay.
My eyeball jewelry. Because it would have to be a stud.
Yeah.
Okay. It heals itself after only 1 to 2 days. The procedure takes 5 minutes, requires only a tropical anesthesia of eye drops, so I'm assuming an eye-numbing drop of some sort.
It's probably the same shit they probably give you when you have like LASIK surgery or something.
It is totally painless, and it can be removed at any time. We charge $10,000. $10,000 to put something in your eye that is the size of a piece of fucking confetti.
Mm-hmm. You could get new tits, a liposuction, booty implants, and all kind of shit for $10,000. But no. You'd rather spend that money more wisely on eye jewelry. No, I'm sorry.
And this,
wouldn't want to be wasteful.
Right. This includes explanation at any time. Swapping out your implant. So if you get a star and in 6 months you decide, I think I'm feeling a heart now. An implant can be swapped out for an additional $5,000.
I love how, and they talk about how, it's painless, it's outpatient surgery. Mm-hmm. It's only 5 minutes for the low price of $10,000. Like, what the fuck? It's like, wait a minute. You've literally just told me how easy and unintrusive this whole procedure is, and how you can
charge me $10,000.
Right, you can knock this shit out over my lunch break, but I'm supposed to pay you $10,000 for that shit? No.
And then if I decide I want a different shape,
right, another
I
$5,000.
gotta fork over another $5,000. A custom implant will also add $5,000. So if you say, I really want a sound wave of my boyfriend's voice in my eye. Oh, well, that's going to be an extra $5,000.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this doctor that is performing these, he's mentioned in the article, I guess he's talking about this implant in some kind of an article.
Sure.
And he says,
medical science journal.
Yeah,
or some
probably, because he did his own research and funding for this. So he said, I've graduated from Dartmouth, Columbia, Harvard, Emory, and NYU. Now, those are 5 very big name colleges.
Yeah.
What the fuck is this guy doing implanting?
It's like all that education And this is what you're doing with it.
This is what you want to do. This is how you want to make your life. Okay.
You know, at least the guys who came up with breast implants or some shit like that, it's like, at least you're kind of doing something where it's like, I could see how this could be useful to society or whatever. I mean, even if you don't feel that it's right to augment your body, let's just say you had breast cancer and you had to get a mastectomy, you know, and they took your boobs, you know, that would be a solution to that.
Sure.
But I don't ever see a need to pierce your eyeballs. Yeah.
No, it's just about as stupid as the eye tattoos.
Yeah.
That was popular a couple of years ago, and it is growing rapidly, where they take a needle and inject ink into your eye, and it's not permanent, so you have to do it every 6 months, 18 months, something like that. And it's not a small needle. We're talking a tattoo needle.
What bothers me about this kind of shit is that people are going to scoff at those prices. They're going to be like, I want to get this, but I can't afford it.
They're going to do it
and
themselves.
Either that or they're going to find some black market shit and some shady motherfucker who's using probably non-sterilized equipment. It's going to fuck your eyes up, and you're going to have a bunch of people trying to get this shit for the low, and they're going to be blind.
The guy proceeds to go on, and he's like, I've published hundreds of articles and here and there, and I've lectured and yada yada yada.
Oh my god, fuck, you did a TED talk about this bullshit? Like, it's still dumb.
He's talking himself up.
He's trying to give validity to what he's doing.
Sure.
He's like, no, I'm a professional. I'm like, shut up.
Sure. Anyways, the whole point of naming all of his accomplishments is to go down and say, I have a perfect record, 100% patients, you know, my patients have never died or got infections or whatever. So I certainly wouldn't perform any procedure that wasn't perfectly safe. Now, whether I believe all that bullshit that he just tried to throw, I don't know. But, yeah. Nope. You ain't sticking a needle anywhere near my eye.
No.
I won't even do LASIK.
Yeah.
And that's a laser.
Yeah, I'm leery of that kind of shit, too. My grandmother had it done when I was a kid, and I thought it was terrifying back then, especially when she explained, like, yeah, you know, and then they just slice part of your lid off and peel it up. I was like, oh, fuck, no.
I will wear glasses as thick as Coke bottles before I got that shit going on.
Man, again, who's funding this shit? Who is sitting around thinking about, like, ooh, how can we do this? And then my thing is, who is the asshole who was patient zero? Who was the first person that went there and was like, hey, cuz.
I gotta have this confetti in my eyes.
Right.
And I keep saying confetti because it's the picture.
That's basically what it looks like.
It's no bigger
it's
than
like a speck.
piece of confetti.
Yeah. Well, for one, and to explain we need to clarify, it's not like on your pupil in the middle of your eye.
No,
it's in the white part of your eye.
Part.
But
and they say that it's off to the side, out of the field of vision.
Yeah, so yeah, you can still see.
But I get a hair in the corner of my eye, and I'm like freaking out trying to get it away from me.
That's what my concern was. I'm like, how do you sleep when you're in REM sleep and your eyes are rolling in the back of your head and flicking all over the place, and you got this fucking thing scraping the inside of your eyelid? Like, or
no.
It's like, you know, what if you get something in your eye and it gets down into the jewel that's sticking out, and now you get a pink eye or some kind of weird infection or something. It's just, there's all kinds of things that could go wrong with that, and there's no justification that I can think of that would make me go, yeah, no, I could see why you could justify wanting to get one of these done. Yeah, no.
None at all.
I'm like, it's not fashionable. No. It damn sure ain't cute.
It looks ugly.
Because
it
I'm
really
like,
does.
I'm like, and no offense to anyone that has this, but I even find it weird with people who have like that birthmark thing on their eye. You know what I'm talking about? Where some people just have like a dark spot on the white part of their eye. That bothers me. So I was like, if I saw it and it was like glistening and shit, and it was like 3D sticking out of your eye, it would bug me to no end, and I would never get past it.
What's that sparkle going on? What's in your eye? Oh, I had eye jewelry. No.
Yeah, it's like, no.
No. I can't do it.
But yeah, my biggest concern about that dumb shit would be, like I said, black market shit is going to pop up, and people are going to start doing it for cheap, and you're going to get a bunch of people with fucked up eyes.
Yeah, I can't. People do that with tattoos nowadays. Anybody can get a tattoo kit. You can buy them online. Be like, hey, dude, I got
One of my
a
best
tattoo.
friends growing up got fucking tattoos from a very shady dude in a very shady area where I was like, man, these motherfuckers could come in here and kill us at any minute, and nobody would know where we were, why we were there, nothing.
Yeah. You know, I know people when I was younger. Hey, my brother's got a piercing kit. He showed me how to pierce my own belly button. So let me pierce yours.
No, I'm
okay,
good.
sure. I just see this eye thing. Somebody gonna be like, man, I want this eye jewelry, but I ain't got 10 grand. Girl, I got you. I get this.
Don't worry. My cousin knows the best friend of the person that gets coffee for that doctor's secretary. So I'm pretty much a pro at this. You can go ahead and trust me. Like, nah.
Nope, I'll pass.
Oh, fuck
I
that.
will pass.
It's like, fuck you very much, but no.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, no,
I think on that note, we're just gonna call dumb shit.
Yeah, we're gonna call it good because I don't want to give anybody ideas and shit. Like, yeah, we can go get our own eyeball piercing kit and like.
Just say no.
Yeah, just do yourself a favor and just pluck your own fucking eyeballs out if you're gonna be dumb enough to try this shit. You like, it'll be a lot easier on everybody else. But anyway, on that high note, that is it for the show, guys. Hey, why don't you guys go check us out on Podbean? They are one of the best podcast apps out there. So Podbean has been a leader in the field of podcasting for well over 10 years. They are developing innovative tools for podcasters and podcast listeners. You can download it on the App Store or you can get it on Google Play. But remember, you can always find our home at onegiantleapforgeeks.libsyn.com or on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play Music, or really anywhere else you get your podcasts. We're probably there. Make sure that you show us some love, so go ahead and like, subscribe, rate, follow, review, and all that shit.
And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or you just want to say hi, you want to submit a dumb shit of the week submission, you can email us at officialoglfg@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter at GiantLeap4Geeks. We're on Facebook, Reddit, Pinterest, Tumblr. I think we even have an Instagram. All you got to do is search One Giant Leap for Geeks. You'll know it's us. All right, you guys have a good night. Bye.